Hey everybody, welcome to the Pancake Boat Podcast. I'm your host as always, Chad. This is my co-host, TF. How you doing tonight, TF?
Not too bad. It's been a really long day. I've been out pretty much all day, and there's been a few interesting stories here and there that I have to tell. But all in all, I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually again doing the podcast outside, but it's actually a really beautiful night. It's about 75 out here, I think, and that'd probably be really hot for you, but like for me, it's just like a really nice warm evening. So I'm doing good. It's beautiful out here. I'm just kind of enjoying things and
Have any
had an
bird friends
interesting
out
day.
there tonight?
Not that I can tell. There's quite a bit of activity going on because it's the weekend and it's a warm night, so everyone's out there doing things. So you might hear a few interesting sounds here and there, but it's pretty quiet other than that out here so far. So we'll see. We'll see if any birds come in to throw a wrench in things.
How about you, Joe? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. It's I say it every week, but the week just goes by so fast, and by the time you know it, we're back doing the podcast again, which is always fun. And I'm looking forward to tonight. It's been pretty fun, easygoing week. How about you, Chad?
Yeah, pretty easy going for me. I really don't have any stories, so I'm just going to hand it over to TF because I'm guessing his day alone was probably more interesting than my whole week put together.
Well, pretty much my day got started off on kind of a not so great note, just because my sister had a half day at work, so I had to go take her to work at 7 and pick her up at noon. So I didn't really get a chance to sleep all that much, and that left me kind of cranky. And this definitely did not really work to others around me their advantage this afternoon, because my sister has this event she's going to tomorrow, something for work. It's some kind of like symphony orchestra thing that she's going to, like this show. I don't really know why. It's just some kind of work thing that she has to go to. But so she was going to buy a dress today at one of the local stores here, like down the street, on the kind of main street in this part of town. And I took her over there and dropped her off and went back home and was just kind of doing some stuff in the yard, trying to keep things fresh looking out there. And I went to go pick her up later when she got the dress, and she had brought it home like not more than like 5 minutes and went to try it on, and the zipper broke. So she called them to ask them to if she could exchange it. And she didn't even want her money back, just to exchange it. And they basically flat out told her they weren't going to let her do it. So this kind of ticked me off, just because it had only been like 15 minutes since she had bought it in there, and they weren't even going to let her exchange it for a dress that actually didn't have a broken zipper on it. So we kind of went in there to talk it over with the woman at the desk, and we were going to like ask the manager about it, since she was kind of like having this attitude about it. And she basically told us that she wasn't going to give us the manager's name, and that she wasn't going to give us his phone number either. So I ended up basically coming uncorked on this woman and proceeded to chew her out in the middle of the store. And
Wow. Just wish I could have seen this.
I was just so furious about this, because like my sister has been going there for years and spent a lot of money in there, and they're just going to disrespect her like that. And like at one point it was kind of funny, because she was just telling me to like quit yelling at her, and I was like, well, what are you going to do, call the cops on me? It's not like the police are going to come around here. I just thought that was a load of crap that they were treating her that way. And they still refused to actually make it right. So like I really didn't feel like I had to be nice in that situation. I was going to give them a piece of my mind because of just how wrong the whole situation was. And so that kind of had me in a bad mood right there. But after that, I kind of just did some grocery shopping. My sister had to go somewhere else to buy a new dress, because obviously she wasn't going back there. So I ended up going to the mall and all these other places, and I walked around Home Depot for a while my sister was out doing these girly things, which I really didn't want to hang around for, because that just be kind of awkward, being in like these
I feel you, man.
Women's clothing stores. And it was kind of interesting just hanging out. It was nice outside, so I kind of went for some walks around the area. And it's always fun going to Walmart. And for some reason, we went to Walmart to actually go shopping later on in the day, because my brother wanted to buy a new laptop, which I was helping him set up too. So that kind of is another thing for me to do today. But for some reason, there was a ton of people there in Walmart today. It felt like Black Friday or something. It was kind of hard to move around, and it was weird to me seeing all those people in there. And I really don't know why. Maybe because it's a Friday and because the weather's nice. But pretty much spent my whole day out shopping, and just coming home and finally being able to do this podcast is really a really welcome break for me from the kind of madness going on today.
I'm glad to hear we can give you a break from all that, but what are you going to do about this dress? Are you going to try and keep trying to find the manager online or something?
I might. I mean, it's kind of hard to do that because there's not really a point in exchanging it now, because the event my sister wanted to do that for us wanted the dress for us tomorrow, and I mean,
get your money back though.
Well, the thing is, they're not going to give us the money back. That's the thing. I mean, it's just really silly to me, because I mean, I know that in reality they can try to say that she just messed it up herself once she got home, but I mean, common sense is going to tell you that in a half hour she didn't really have enough time to ruin that dress in that amount of time. They sold her a faulty dress, and at the very least, I want to go back there and give them a piece of my mind and make sure that I've explored every avenue to make sure that if this can be right, this wrong can be made right, that it's going to be made right. But
I'm not even sure what the point of that would be. Like buying a dress just to take it home and mess it up and then come back and get another one.
I don't know, but I mean, these people are completely unprofessional, and it just frustrates me to see people that don't have any common sense about things like this. Like, obviously, like, she's been shopping in there for years. It's not like she's just some random person who went in there and is trying to get a new dress because she messed it up. She's been a loyal customer there, and they've definitely lost a customer if they don't make this right. And I'm going to do my very best to make sure nobody else shops there either, because that's not right. I mean, I know there's a lot of places around here to shop anyways, but it's just ridiculous. It's at some place like that just going to completely disregard the way that disregard the customer's best interest. I mean, that's just not good customer service there. You're not really going to make people want to shop there if you're going to treat your customers like they're some kind of criminal or something. Like they're just trying to screw you over, basically.
The customer is always right. That's an old phrase, and that's a phrase that every store should go by.
I totally agree, but apparently they haven't got the memo on that. But oh well, in the end, I think that they're going to be the ones who pay for that, because my sister shops in there a lot, and we all know girls like to shop, and to lose a customer like her, that's going to be a pretty big loss.
Well, we may as well jump right into tonight's topics. Probably the main story of the week is Miley Cyrus is now engaged to Liam Hemsworth, who I really don't know anything about him, but I think I'll actually hand this over to you too, TF, because you probably know a lot more about this than I do.
Well, yeah, I mean, the news just came out the other day, and it was kind of shocking and out of nowhere to kind of see her like getting engaged. But yeah, she's engaged to her longtime boyfriend, Liam Hemsworth, who is actually from Australia. So I mean, that's kind of interesting.
Oh.
I know you're a big fan of Australia, but
yes, I am.
But yeah, I mean, I know she's only 19, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are wondering why someone would get married that young. But I mean, I guess the way I see it is that when you think about it, being married really doesn't mean a whole lot these days. And with people who are in their 20s or 30s getting married these days, it never really lasts. So, I would just say you give them both the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you never know these days what could happen. But I mean, they've been together for a while. I know they've been kind of on and off for several years now. But I definitely wish them both all the best. And I kind of always have a thing for just rooting for the underdogs. And I kind of feel like in this case, there's probably going to be a lot of criticism about them getting engaged so young. But I really don't have any problem with people getting married young. I mean, especially since they both have money and are kind of set. It's not like they're getting married young and they're like fresh out of high school or something. So I mean, I definitely wish them all the best, and we'll see how it goes.
I wish them the best too, but I'm always kind of reluctant anytime I see that celebrities, like in general, get engaged, just because they get engaged all the time, but very rarely do these engagements like go all the way. So I'm not saying that I'm like rooting against them, but at the same time, like I'm kind of like wondering, like I kind of have like this mindset, like I'll believe it when I see it, but I don't really have any problem against people getting married young. Like I can speak for myself. I actually really wanted to get married young for many years. And now that I'm like 25, I actually have kind of changed that standpoint, that I kind of want to wait a few more years. But so, in that aspect, I do kind of think maybe people should kind of wait out to see if their opinions change. But I mean, if you look back at the old days, people used to get married young all the time. I think my grandmother was like 16 when she got married. My grandfather was like 18. So, and that's from that's from a time and age where marriages actually lasted. So I guess that says something.
Like I said, it really doesn't matter these days what age you get married at, because most of the time marriages don't last anyway. So, if you're in love and you want to go all the way, I mean, why not? It's not like the old days, like you said, when marriage actually meant something. In these days, it's kind of just, why not? I mean, I don't really personally feel that way, but I can see why other people would feel that way. And yeah, I know they're young, but the thing about celebrities is, and people who are out there in Hollywood, is that you have to grow up a lot faster than someone who, say, like you and me. And so someone who's 19 or 22, or really aren't like 19 or 22-year-olds that you would see, in everyday life. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of shocked, honestly, when I read this. When I was on Twitter, my sister saw it on Twitter in the morning when I was taking her to work the other day, and I was kind of like, well, that came out of nowhere. But yeah, like I said, I mean, who knows if they'll actually get married or whatnot. But like I said, I wish them all the best, and I hope things work out for their sake, because it always is nice to think about something actually working out in Hollywood these days, because it really very rarely ever does. So I guess we'll see where this goes. What do you think about this, Joe?
It's kind of hard, because it really just depends on what the celebrity themselves, because there's all these weddings that happen. I mean, that, like, when I think back to, like, the Kim Kardashian and Chris Humphries wedding, it's kind of like, that was like 72 days. So it's like you really can't get a feel for, what could happen with these things. Either it's, one big publicity stunt to make money, or it's just it doesn't work out, and there's all this stuff that goes into it. But I think the fact that you said that they've, like, been together on and off for years, kind of like, it kind of makes it a little better, just in the case of, it feels like maybe they've known each other for that long to be able to come to that decision. And like you said, Hollywood grows people up fast. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if they'll last or anything like that. But like you said, it's kind of just fun to hope something works out for once. I mean, at the very heart, I think celebrities are people too, and you always want to see people get happy endings. So you kind of hope they do get that happy ending of being able to last and to make it work. And maybe it's hard because, like, they are very young, but at the same time, it's like you never really can tell. I mean, it's like Chad said, it's like my grandparents themselves are really young. I think they were like 16 too, and they've been together all these years. So to me, it's just kind of one of those things where maybe it's just on the person. It's like it's hard for me to decide, because it's on the person. So it's really on how they feel about each other. And like I said, like you guys said, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt too, in that they do care about each other, and that this is for all the right reasons. I think. I mean, like you said, they both have money already, so I can really see them be for money.
I think you make it. I'll let TF go in a minute here, but I just want to say that I think you have a good point when you say that it kind of depends on the person. And I don't want to sound like I'm judging here, but Miley Cyrus, I don't know, I'm kind of hesitant about that. She can be kind of wild at times.
Well, I agree with that in a sense, because I'm not as big a fan of her as I once was. I mean, she's kind of different than she used to be, when she was maybe younger, and when I was younger. And that's not to say anything about who she is or what she stands for, because I really don't care. I'm all for doing whatever you want, and for being who you want to be. But I just don't 100% agree with everything that she stands for these days. But to each their own. But I do agree with you that it does make it seem kind of questionable, just because she is kind of wild in a way. But I mean, in the end, she has been with this guy for several years now, and I mean, I don't mean to sound stereotypical here, but I mean, she is from the South, and they do tend to get married younger there, and
also true.
Who knows? I mean, I really don't know much about her parents as far as, like, when they got together, but you never know. I mean, I as far as I know, like, I'm not even sure their parents got divorced recently. I mean, her parents got divorced recently, so I mean, pretty much everybody gets divorced these days at some point. So
which is sad.
It is sad, but in the end, like I said, I wish them all the best, whether it lasts like 3 years or 10 years or whatever. But I mean, time will only tell us, see where this actually goes. But in the end, like, I really would like to see this actually last, just because there are going to be so many people out there who doubt them and doubt that they could actually last. So that would just be kind of nice to see that, kind of proving the doubters wrong. But that is a very rare thing to actually see these days.
And if it does only last like a month or two, we can just say, oh, she's just being Miley.
Exactly. Although it is kind of crazy to think about, like Miley Cyrus like getting married.
I know, it doesn't seem like long ago. She was like 13 years old or something.
Yeah, I know, and like now it just kind of shows you how quickly life goes by. I mean, I know she is young, still young, like we've been saying, but wow, it's just time goes by faster than you can imagine.
Kind of makes us feel old.
Yeah, I know. I mean, she's getting married at 19, and I'm 22, and like I'm still looking. I'm still looking to find somebody to have a long-term relationship with, much less get married. But it is kind of interesting that one funny thing I did hear on the radio after I was kind of listening to some segment they were talking about this is that she said she was going to put out like one last album before she gets married or something like that, and I was kind of laughing at the title. I have no idea if she was serious about this, but she said like she was going to make some album called Adult and Sexy before she is married. And I was like just laughing at that title, and let it be Adult and Sexy. But yeah, she is kind of crazy, like you said. I mean, she's definitely unique. But when you look at her father and how crazy he was at times, I mean, really isn't all that surprising.
Well, you say crazy, and I think that is a perfect transition into our next topic, which is about Amanda Bynes. Amanda Bynes is at it again, and I'm on Yahoo News right here, and I will read off what happened. C-list actress Amanda Bynes, who you may know from the 90s Nickelodeon show All That and such fine films as She's the Man and What a Girl Wants, was arrested in April for driving under the influence. We actually talked about that here on the show at the time. Bynes was officially charged Tuesday with a DUI, The Hollywood Reporter wrote, and now she enlisted President Obama to help her get out of her messy situation. After her hearing, Bynes tweeted, "Hey Barack Obama, I don't drink. Please fire the cop who arrested me. I also don't hit and run. The end. Forget the economy and the upcoming election." Well, that's not part of her tweet. This is part of the article. I don't want to like misquote her here. Forget the economy and the upcoming election. Surely the president and his staff are right on this pressing matter. According to police reports, Bynes sideswiped a police car at 3 a.m. on April 6 in West Hollywood, a favorite neighborhood for handing out celebrity DUIs, and the actress refused a breathalyzer test. After that incident, Bynes has reportedly backed into a curb while texting on her phone and sideswiped yet another vehicle in the weeks following her arrest. I don't want to accuse her of lying. Maybe she wasn't drinking, but the fact that she refuses a breathalyzer test is very suspicious. And I mean, there are corrupt cops, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, just like the idea of her getting on Twitter and like tweeting Obama about this, it's just, it kind of sends the wrong message, you know what I mean?
I definitely know what you mean, and it's kind of funny because everybody who gets arrested or sent to jail never did anything. You know what I mean? Like they, whether they did it or not, they never actually did it in their mind. So it's really kind of hard to take it seriously when somebody says that they gets arrested and they say, "Well, I didn't do it," because, I mean, people don't just get arrested for no reason. Usually there's a good reason for it. I mean, that's not to say that there aren't situations where people do get arrested unfairly, but I mean, like you said, she refused a breathalyzer test, and I think that says a lot, because I mean, if you weren't drinking, just take the test and it'll prove that. But if you deny it, that just kind of sets the tone, really, that you're trying to hide something. And whether or not she actually was hiding something, that you can't just refuse a breathalyzer test unless you want to be accused of drinking and driving. And even if she wasn't drinking and driving, it's obvious that she's been very reckless on the road these days, just because you hear about her like backing into a curb and cars and whatnot. Driving. Yeah, I mean that's honestly just as dangerous as drinking and driving, because you're not paying attention to the road, and you see all the time people getting in these terrible car accidents or killing others just because they were focusing on something other than what they should be focusing on, and that's driving. I mean, when you're in a car and you're on the road, you should be focusing on the road, not something on your phone. Just put that away and save it for some time when you don't have your life and other people's lives quite literally in your hands.
What are your thoughts on this story, Joe?
It's kind of weird in a sense, because I'm not even condoning it, like in the sense that's going to sound, but when you're a celebrity and you get kind of in trouble for these things, you get a lot of leeway just because of who you are and who what you've done. So her actually tweeting that and doing that stuff is kind of weird in the sense that she's pretty much screwing herself over and like not making any favors with these cops and just coming off very strange and awkward. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, when you're a celebrity, you kind of, we've seen it where like other celebrities you kind of get off the hook for things that they
well,
really.
She's not exactly A-list though.
That's true, but at the same time, it's still the same thing. I mean, even like lower celebrities kind of get that sometimes too, and it's just weird to me that she's like costing herself here by speaking up. It's kind of like, it's kind of a weird comparison to make. But Chad and I we follow the wrestling business, and when you have like wrestlers tweeting stupid stuff too, it's kind of like it reminds me of that where they just tweet stupid stuff without like thinking of what they're doing about how they're going to hurt themselves with this. They just kind of like tweet in anger and bitterness and just. It's just stupid, and it just gives you a perspective. I feel like in a sense, like I know she probably deserves like what she gets, but I feel bad in a sense that celebrity has fallen that far to go that crazy because it's just kind of weird and strange, and her behavior in general has been weird and strange. So it's just in a sense, it's one of those things where you kind of chalk it up to just either the celebrity life or the drinking or whatever. But even still, it's still a person there, so you kind of just feel bad for that whole aspect of it. At least I do.
I feel bad too because there was a point where actually everyone. Like, when you looked at all the young stars, she actually seemed like one of the saner ones. And that's definitely not the case now.
Yeah, she's kind of really, really going crazy these past few years. I don't really know if, like I said before in that one show where we talked about her actually getting arrested for that DUI, if it's just because we kind of know more about her since we're kind of in the digital age where Twitter and Facebook connect celebrities to us like never before, and we're really kind of seeing these intimate moments we usually wouldn't. But I mean, she's kind of on a roll here, and I didn't even really touch on how ridiculous it was that she tweeted Obama about this because I honestly I don't even know what she thought that was going to do. I don't think that President Obama is going to like drop what he's doing and stop focusing on the wars that we're fighting right now and the problems in this country that we're dealing with just to get her out of jail. I mean, quite honestly,
maybe he was a fan of the Amanda show.
Maybe he was.
Well, possibly, but
all that.
But honestly, I just wow. I mean, I almost don't know if she was serious about that. It just seems kind of crazy. And like, how in the world is he going to fire the cop who arrested her anyways? I know he's the president of the United States, but I don't think he has jurisdiction over this whatever town that she was in that has the power to get some guy fired who really has no connection to the president.
I bet if he wanted to, he probably could, but it's still ridiculous.
And like I said, really, why is that his responsibility? If like, I don't really think that he knows whether or not that the cop actually was crooked or not. I mean, he doesn't know anything about this guy, and honestly, he probably doesn't even know anything about Amanda Bynes. So it's just really ridiculous to me. It's funny in a way, just because I don't know. She's just ridiculous in many ways these days, I guess.
I'd like to say maybe she's joking, but if you've ever actually read her Twitter, it's pretty. I don't even know what to say about it. Yeah, out there.
It just kind of would become, even if you did get the president involved, like my word versus theirs, and I don't know. I just not a situation you should put somebody in, especially not the president of the United States. I mean, let's face it, he's never going to read that tweet, much less give it a thought or even, the back of his mind. But
you never know, man. Maybe that court case will go on and like the door will bust open and Obama will walk in and he'll be like, "Unleash that lady."
Honestly, if that did happen, I mean, I think I would have like a newfound respect for her, just because I would I would find that so hilarious. I don't know why I would that would make me gain more respect for her, but I definitely would. I don't know. I mean, just the thought of Obama like busting into the courtroom, yelling like "Free that woman," and then like yelling at this police officer and like sending him to Cuba or something.
I picture him having like this hilarious face and like pointing like "Free that young lady."
How can you arrest a spy and upstanding young woman? Something like that.
Oh man.
Amanda Bynes did not hit and run. She doesn't drink.
That's right. Believe it or not, that wasn't our craziest story of the week, though. This is by far not only the craziest story of the week, but probably one of the craziest stories I've ever read in my life. I am on I'm getting this off the Daily Mail site from the United Kingdom. Someone has turned their dead cat into a helicopter. Yes. I'll read off the article here. It says, many animal lovers find it hard to part with their pets when they die. So when Cat Orville, named after the famous aviator Orville Wright, was run over by a car, his artist owner decided to turn him into a permanent piece of artwork as the ultimate tribute by transforming him into a flying helicopter. Dutch artist Bart Jansen first stuffed Orville before teaming up with radio control helicopter flyer Arjen Beltman to build a specially designed flying mechanism to attach the cat. I won't read the full article here, but if you Google like cat helicopter, you'll probably find this, and there are like some really hilarious pictures of this cat, just like the face it's making and the fact that it's like it basically is a helicopter now. And to be honest, like I had like a mixed reaction when I first found this. I somewhat felt horrified, but I could not laugh at this. Just looking at these pictures, you trust me, I don't care like how sensitive you are, how much you love animals. If you see these pictures, you can't not laugh at it. And it's not even really that bad because it's not like he actually killed the cat to do this. You know, it was his pet cat that he seemingly loved this cat, and he did this as like a tribute after the cat already died. And I don't know. I can see how some people might take this the wrong way, but I just think it's so ridiculous. I can't even be offended by this. I just, it's hard not to find this hilarious. What are your thoughts on this, TF?
Well, I'm just watching this video right now, and I mean, like you said, it's impossible not to laugh at this. I just, the title alone of this article is a headline I never thought I would ever read. But I mean, like you said, the cat met a tragic end, and I mean, I'm not sure turning the family pet into a helicopter would be the first thing I would think of doing, but I mean, this cat's legacy is definitely going to live on forever just because of this. So, wow, I mean, a lot of crazy news stories this podcast, but I think it's going to be hard for us to ever top this one.
Probably. What are your thoughts on this, Joe?
I think it's more amazing that the cat actually looks like, you know, for being like run over, it actually looks like rather normal. I mean, you know, that you can't really just look at it. Just like it looks like a normal cat. Like if it was like strapped to, it had like something strapped to it, like a jetpack or something that was flying around. So to me, it's just kind of looking at that like in wonderment of them being able to like recreate this cat like that. And yeah, it kind of
gadget helicopter.
it kind of like threw me off guard too, in the sense of like seeing this and kind of like feeling bad in the sense for laughing. But like you said, it's really not that bad. It's kind of like an honor of the cat, so it's not like it's anything bad. I mean, it's just. You know, it was named after the aviator. He was named after one of the Wright brothers, so it's like it's kind of fitting to do that. I'm kind of all for that. So it was kind of like a fun story to read.
It's funny. I mean, I was gonna say, like when I first showed TF this story this week, like his first comment to me was like, I wouldn't mind if someone, like, if I died, like, you have permission to turn me into a helicopter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this. It just, can you imagine, like, let's say you were just flying this around in a park or something like that, and like people are looking up and see this cat flying through the air. It's just,
oh man, I joked to
that
Chad.
Visual.
That, like, go ahead.
Wow.
What were you gonna say, Joe?
I joked to Chad that like imagine like being in the car and like driving around. You stop like at a red light and you see like this cat flying over your windshield. And you're like, what in the world? like a bug or something, like a bugwood or something. You're just like flying over your windshield.
Oh man. You should imagine like the horrified look of children if like this cat like falls down on them or something.
Oh, man. Like falls. It's like a birthday party. Like falls in the cake or something like that.
Oh man. Like I said though last night off air, if I die in some kind of tragic car accident, I give you both full permission to turn my remains into a helicopter of some sort.
I have audio proof of this right now. So if you ever die in a tragic accident, and I'm not saying I want that to happen, but if it ever does, I have proof of you saying that right here on the radio. And I'm going to approach your family with a very sensitive look on my face and say this as kindly as possible. Your son has volunteered to become a helicopter.
Well, I mean, I also give you permission to fly this fly me around wherever you want, but just don't do it around my family, because that would be kind of insensitive. Although I do give you permission to frighten my sister with it, because I mean, I don't know.
Your sister like in her bedroom and like you fly by.
Yeah, in death, I will be getting revenge for all of the things I never got to kind of, you know, get revenge for during my days here on Earth.
I think it would be a perfect tribute for like me and Joe to go on a Chicago trip and like fly you around the city or something. Like we're standing at the very top of the Willis Tower, like flying you over the Willis Tower.
Imagine you actually flew it into a helicopter or something, and we're like charged with terrorism or something, flying someone into a helicopter, a news helicopter.
Now this is a conversation I never thought we'd have.
Oh.
I don't think we're topping that story, but this is our last topic of the day here before we get into our weekly features. But I found this pretty crazy too, and this is from the World of Pop Culture site. A man caught on fire after spraying on sunscreen, and I'll read off the story here. Sunscreen is supposed to protect your skin burns, and in most cases it does. Unfortunately for a Massachusetts man, there are rare exceptions. Brett Sigworth of Stowe, Massachusetts, suffered second-degree burns when his sunscreen was set on fire by the grill. He was just grilling on his deck with friends when his body suddenly caught on fire after spraying himself with Banana Boat Spray-On Aerosol Sunscreen, not to be confused with Pancake Boat. His burns appeared only on areas where he had sprayed on the lotion. I've never experienced pain like that in my life. Banana Boat responded in a statement by saying, "We were concerned to hear about Brett's experience. At Banana Boat, we take these matters very seriously and will begin a prompt investigation as we continue to strive to deliver better products of the highest quality to our consumers." Very corporate answer there. Chances are this won't happen to you, but why take your chances? Stick to sunscreen lotions instead. Spray-on sunscreens tend to spray off into the air, and it can be difficult to see where you're applied and what areas you missed. Oh yeah, and you definitely won't catch on fire with your standard sunscreen. That is a very interesting story, and quite horrifying. I would be very horrified if I were, like, grilling on my porch and, like, caught on fire randomly, but that's quite the tale there.
I hate to sound insensitive, but just the visual of some guy, like, casually grilling on his porch with friends and all of a sudden just combusting and out of, like, thin air is... And just the thought of, like, how confused people around him must have been when this happened is...
Dude, we've already talked about, like, dead cats flying into kids' birthday cakes. I don't think we can get much more insensitive on this show.
This is a good point, but, I mean, like, obviously it's terrible if this guy suffered burns like this, and, you know, hopefully he's all right, didn't suffer any kind of long-term injuries here, but, man, I mean, you know, I after hearing this, I've never been happier to, you know, be a darker-skinned guy who doesn't really need to use sunscreen, because that really would be terrifying to just be sitting there grilling and all of a sudden be set ablaze and you're just sitting there like, what the heck happened here? Although at first when I read this headline, I thought that the guy was like sitting out in the sun and randomly like caught on fire, and I was going to say that's really weird, but like how long was he sitting out there in the sun? But this kind of does make more sense. I mean, I've heard of like people with hairspray and all that, like lighting a cigarette and like their hair lighting on fire, but wow, this is just... Like I said, I definitely am never using this type of sunscreen right here, because I do a lot of grilling, and I can see myself... I can see this happening to me if I were to ever use this.
I think we're all covered, because you guys are darker skinned, and I never go out in the sun, so I think we're all good there. What are your thoughts on this story, Joe?
Well, I'm just thankful when I do use sunscreen, I use the regular kind they talk about, where you can just kind of like apply it on rather than spray on kind, because that is really terrifying. And hopefully, like you said, like TF said, that guy has so many serious injuries. It's just kind of crazy when you think about that and how it kind of like turned out that way. I mean, I can only imagine if that happened like here and like someone like caught on fire after like spraying on suntan lotion and being near a grill. So it definitely one of those crazier stories, and kind of weird. Like the banana boat people kind of just were like, we are very concerned about his well-being and stuff, and like it didn't seem like they like made it up to him in any way. They just kind of said, oh well, we're just concerned. It's like, he had like a cause to be seriously injured. He didn't. I guess in a sense it wasn't really their fault either, but it's just kind of like weird to me. They didn't actually like. It didn't seem like they apologized as much. They just said like we were just very sorry to hear that, and we're working on bettering it.
Like I said, it's just a very corporate response.
I guess you can't trust a banana boat. You can always trust a pancake boat. You cannot trust
That's
a banana
right.
boat.
We should like put out our own sunscreen.
Yeah, one that
Pancake?
won't.
Pancake scented.
Pancake scented. Oh man.
Are we gonna say TF, one that won't catch you on fire?
Basically, I would say one that won't make you spontaneously combust. I mean, just stick to what you know works. Don't.
That should be our commercial line. Our sunscreen won't make you spontaneously combust, except with the ladies.
Oh yeah, I mean, like what better scent to have than pancakes? I mean, that's gotta attract the ladies right there.
That's right. We'll have a special maple syrup flavor too.
Maple syrup. Is that the ladies' version? Like you're the pancakes and the girls the syrup?
That's right. That's right. The guys will smell like just plain old pancakes, and the girls will smell like syrup. I know. It probably drives you wild when you walk by a girl and she smells like syrup, right, TF?
I mean, come on. I mean, pancakes and syrup. It doesn't get much better than that. I mean, imagine like waking up next to your girl, and you don't even have to go to the kitchen to smell those pancakes cooking. I mean, after all the cooking that was going on last night in that bedroom, I mean, you probably have all the the pancakes smells that you need right there.
Oh, in this case, they're not pancakes; they're hot cakes.
Although I'm not sure why you'd be wearing sunscreen to bed, but I mean, maybe we could just make a fragrance, you know?
Well, maybe these people live on the beach and they sleep outside a lot.
Oh, or they have roofs that have kind of like those like glass roofs where they kind of like have windows up there and the sun beams in.
That would be terrifying. This is like really off topic, but that would be very terrifying to me to have like a glass roof.
Pretty like Hey Arnold, because Hey Arnold had that glass roof on there.
Yeah, every time it rains, I would be like paranoid that like the rain or the lightning's gonna like bust through the glass or something.
Honestly, as powerful as lightning is, I don't think it would make much of a difference if it was glass there or a roof, because if you get hit directly by lightning, you're pretty much doomed either way.
That's true, but just the idea of like glass up there is just it just would look frightening. At the same time, though, it would look kind of cool to like see like a rainstorm coming down on you.
Or like a rainbow or the stars and the moon. That'd be kind of romantic. I mean, just
yeah, it would.
Kind of laying there.
And if that glass broke, you have like shards of glass flying down at you, which does not sound appealing at all.
And I'm also like somewhat of a private person. I wouldn't want like planes flying over and like, looking down, like seeing me on the toilet or something.
I'm imagining some people like flying over in an airplane, looking down and seeing something going on there in the bedroom, and they're like, "Oh,
you making hotcakes there, buddy? Got something on the griddle?"
Oh man.
All right. I think this is a good time to move on to DME now.
All right.
And it's your week, Joe.
It is my week, and I think I picked some that you guys might not know so much, but I kind of like that in a general sense that you really don't know what to expect outside of maybe like, of what you've heard. So it's just kind of fun in that way. And I'll start off with one of the more basic factor. There you go. I'll start off with one of the more basic ones, and it's a model category since we haven't really done any models. So.
Oh, it sounds good. We haven't really had one of those, so yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Candace Swanepoel, Kate Upton, and Brooklyn Decker. And I let Chad go first last week for my 5-round question, so you can go first, yeah.
Who was the first girl?
Candace Swanepoel.
I don't know if I know who that is.
I know I don't.
How
do you spell that?
Swan, like SWAN.
Oh, yeah, that's coming up on Google now. Not bad.
And who was the third one? I'm sorry. I'm like
Brooklyn Decker.
Brooklyn Decker. I don't know if I've heard of her either, but I'm gonna look for her.
I have heard of her.
Oh yeah. I've heard of her before. I'm gonna go with dating that Candace girl, whatever her name is. Definitely marrying Kate Upton because like not only is she a Michigan product, but she's also really one of the more attractive girls out there right now. I mean, I don't think it gets much better than her as far as looks, as pure looks goes. So I'll definitely marry her, and I guess I'd be enemies with Brooklyn Decker because I really don't know much about her, and I don't have any problem with her, but it's kind of hard to beat Kate Upton. And the other girl is pretty hot too. That Candace girl. So I guess they win out on this one right here.
Yeah, they all look pretty hot to me. I'm not kind of having some trouble deciding here.
Trust me, go with Kate Upton. Have you ever seen that Cat Daddy video or that one?
Yeah, okay. I'll go with Kate. Kate for the win, or for the win. I'll marry Kate. As far as date goes, it's a tough one. I would enjoy like dating either of these fine young ladies here, but I think
I'm tempted to have you watch that Cat Daddy video live on air here just to see your reaction.
Show me after the show. I think
that's a little non PG-13.
I think I will steal TF's answer here and date Candace, and by default kind of have Brooklyn as my hot enemy.
Well, you could have worse enemies.
Yeah, you sure could.
All right, I'll let you.
I would not mind that lady like plotting against me.
It would be hot revenge, I guess you could say.
Hot revenge, yes.
Hot cakes on the griddle. Next up, I'll go with one actually you're really familiar with, so it fits to have you go first, and that's WWE Divas. So,
okay,
we have Caitlyn, we have Kelly Kelly, and we have AJ Lee.
I used to have a big crush on Kelly Kelly, but that's kind of like went down a little bit in recent years. I think I would actually. I think I'll marry Caitlyn, date Kelly Kelly, and have AJ as an enemy. And knowing her character, that would be really hilarious to have her as an enemy. So
tying you to train tracks.
Yeah. How about you, TF? You want to Google these girls here? I know you probably know Kelly Kelly at least.
Well, our friend Clark here has made sure that I know like a little bit something about all these girls that you just mentioned. So
oh really?
So yeah, this was actually easier than I thought it would be. But let's see here. I'd definitely date Kelly Kelly just because I don't know. I mean, I kind of know a little bit about her because of you, because like you did used to have a crush on her, and I don't want to steal your girl or anything. So I won't marry her or anything. But you know, she seems like a cool person. She seems nice, and you know, I mean, obviously she's attractive. I mean, she used to be a model or something, right? I remember you telling me something about that.
She used to be a lingerie model.
Yeah. But yeah, I see you on this Google Images right now.
I bet you do. Enjoying the view, TF?
I've had worse views, but I guess I would marry AJ. She's pretty hot. I mean, she's probably the hottest out of the three, to be honest with you. I really don't know much about her other than that, just because, like I said, I mean, you know, our friend Clark here makes sure that I'm in the know about pretty much every girl that he ever sees.
She plays like a crazy character on TV.
I guess I'd be enemies with this Caitlyn girl, but
she's pretty.
I don't know anything about her. She's like the one that I probably know the least about. Well, definitely know the least about, but yeah, this AJ Lee girl looks she looks pretty hot.
She's probably like one of the few girls that would be shorter than you too. So.
Well, I mean that's a plus for sure right here, but because I'm not very I'm kind of vertically challenged. So
that was interesting.
It was, and unfortunately, TF, you have to kind of go first for the one that you might know the least about, but you can Google these. They're TNA Knockouts, and we have Brooke Hogan, Velvet Sky.
You were kidding when you said off air that I wasn't going to know anything about these. But, I mean, I knew a little bit more than I expected this last one, but yeah, you go ahead.
All right, we have Brooke Hogan, Velvet Sky, and Brooke Tessmacher. Two Brookes there.
Who was the last one again?
Brooke Tessmacher. Or you could type in, I guess, Brooke Adams model, and you would get a better result.
Two Brookes in here, I guess. We're very Brooke.
I actually might know Brooke Hogan because she had like her own reality show.
Yeah, I actually do know her. I remember didn't she like release some song or something like that too in like 2004 or something?
Bad Ones.
Yeah, it was. That's probably what I remember most about her. Let's see. Well, I will say, like, offhand here, I really know nothing about her. I really don't know what she looks like, but the name Velvet Sky is a pretty cool name. All right, let's see. I will... actually, I have heard about her, too, from our friend Clark. Oh, man. Wow. This is pretty much like picking out of a hat here because I'm not particularly attracted to any of these girls. I mean, they're not like
Really?
I mean, obviously you could do a lot worse, but I mean, just like on first look, they're not really my type. But I guess I would. Okay, I would date Brooke Adams, I guess. I guess I'll marry Brooke Hogan just because I know the most about her, and it'd be kind of hilarious being kind of related to Hulk Hogan.
He would be your father-in-law.
Yeah, so that alone.
That's a reality show I want to see.
That's a reality show I would want to be a part of just because of the hilarity of it. But
oh man, what was that threat that he did to Aaron Carter once, Joe? Wasn't it
like Aaron Carter? What the heck?
Yeah, Aaron Carter like dated Brooke once, and like Hogan like walked up to him and like gave him this threat like you better not get too close to the grill on the barbecue, brother, or something like that.
What the heck is that supposed to mean? Is he gonna be lit ablaze by his sunscreen or something?
Hogan's always saying weird stuff. I don't know.
Cool your jets, brother.
Cool your jets, brother.
So I guess that leaves Velvet Sky as my enemy, and I have no idea if that would be something that I would not want. But yeah, there you go.
Without a doubt, I would marry Brooke Tessmacher, Brooke Adams, because I actually think she's really hot. I think I'd probably date Velvet, and that would leave Brooke Hogan as my enemy. And that, like, by default, like, Hulk Hogan would be my enemy, too, which sounds kind of hilarious, so...
Hulk Hogan being anybody's enemy is hilarious.
I imagine him, like, ripping off his shirt, like, pointing at me, being like, you!
You!
I should point out for TF, because they didn't see it, they had, like, a commercial for, like, Brooke Hogan on there. She, like, ripped off her shirt like Hogan, but she had, like, a bra underneath.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, wow, where was this aired? In Europe?
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised you don't find, like, Brooke Tessmacher that hot, because I think she's really hot.
I mean, she's obviously an attractive girl. I mean, I'm not going to deny that, but, like, just
not really your type.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, I don't think I'd turn her down. I mean... I don't mean that. I mean, obviously she's an attractive young lady, but...
We're in no place to be picky these days.
No, we're not. And let's be honest, we'd probably ask out any of these girls if we had the chance.
I can't deny this.
Alright, it's Chad's turn again, and this is musicians, and I'm probably going to botch these names, so I apologize in advance, but we have Carly Rae Jepsen, Adele, and Jonna Kramer.
Who was the last one?
Jonna Kramer, the girl from One Tree Hill.
Oh, yeah. I was confused. It sounded like you said, like, John F. Kennedy or something.
I heard that, too, actually.
John F. Kennedy. I don't think so.
I feel kind of dumb here, because I actually have heard quite a bit of her, but I actually have to Google to see what Adele looks like.
Who was the last girl you said? Something Cameron or something?
Jonna Kramer.
Oh, Jonna Kramer. Whoever that is.
She was on One Tree Hill. She's actually really hot. I think I would actually marry Jonna Kramer. I'd date Carly Rae Jepsen, and I'd have, like, Adele as my enemy.
She would write angry songs about you.
Yeah, well, Taylor Swift already has.
There you go. So now you got two musicianal enemies. What about you, Tia?
Yeah, Chad is completely right about Jonna Kramer being really hot. But I honestly had no idea she was a singer. Is she?
Yeah, she's like a country singer. Like
I have no idea
what the name of the song is.
One interesting factoid here is that she actually was born here in Detroit and grew up in like one of the towns around here that I actually go to every now and then. So that's actually pretty cool. And I would I'd actually probably date. See, this is hard because I actually. Adele really kind of gets a lot of criticism for her weight and all that, but she's actually not really that bad looking. Definitely not my type, but I'm not really a big fan of her music for whatever reason. You'd think I would because she kind of has this old school like Motown type sound, but I just never really been into her. But I actually do really respect her a lot as an artist and as a person because she kind of doesn't really care about what other people think. With that being said, I would probably date Carly Rae Jepsen. I would marry Jonna whatever her name was. Jonna Kramer.
John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, I'd marry John F. Kennedy, and I guess I'd be enemies with Adele, even though like I wouldn't really want to be enemies with her in a way. But But I have no hard feelings for her. I actually like her, but in this case, she'd probably be my enemy. Like no, like I said, I actually don't think she's bad looking at all, though. And like I have no problem with girls being, kind of on the chunky side. But
no, I don't think she's bad looking at all either. But like out of the three, I'd probably date her the least.
The funny thing is, she's actually like the same, like a year older than me. But I always think of her as being like in her 30s or something, just because she has such an old sound.
Yeah, like her voice sounds really kind of older.
I would never think that she's like 23. It's kind of funny when you think of like her compared to someone like Taylor Swift, who's like a year younger than her. Like totally different, totally different parts of their lives right now, even though they're only a year apart.
And I said this last week with someone else, but like one of the pictures of her on Google Images is like her smoking, which is like an automatic turnoff for me.
Yeah, she does smoke, and that's kind of sad too, because she's like a really good singer, and that really like ruins your voice. It's sad, but to each their own. I mean.
All right, we'll go with number 5, and this time you can go first. Yeah, this one is kind of like based off, like we did that TV Moms one once, and this is like based off of characters and.
This sounds interesting.
Magical characters. You have Genie from I Dream of Jeannie. You have Sam from Bewitched, and you have Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Ooh.
Oh man.
I bet he's like really sad you didn't include Alex Russo.
Oh man.
I actually am very sad about that.
That would have been that would have been too easy though.
Yeah, it would have been too easy for me. But oh man. I actually love all three of them and thought all three of them are really attractive and like really awesome characters. But I guess I'd date Jeannie, marry Sabrina, and I guess I'd be enemies with Sam, although I really would not want to be enemies with any of these girls. But I really like Sam quite a bit. I mean, I never liked her as much as Jeannie, but I loved Bewitched, and I loved I Dream of Jeannie too. And I mean, come on, who didn't love Sabrina the Teenage Witch? Anyone from our generation. So that's actually a really good one there. I like that one quite a bit. But yeah, it's not as easy as you would think for me.
Well, you're kind of risking with any of these girls. You're kind of risking being turned into a goat or something.
Goat.
I liked I Dream of Jeannie better than Bewitched too.
Imagine me being killed as a goat and you turning me into a helicopter.
You never know. I actually liked I Dream of Jeannie better than Bewitched too, but I think I would actually rather marry Samantha just because I don't know, like Jeannie's kind of crazy, and I do kind of like a little crazy, but I don't know, like something about Samantha just seems like she'd be a really good wife, and I think I'd probably marry her and date Jeannie because that seems like it'd be a wild time. And I'm not saying like I'm not into Sabrina because I would totally date Sabrina too, but I guess by default she's kind of my enemy. So, and honestly, like out of the three, like I kind of get the feeling like Sabrina would probably be like the least likely to want revenge on me.
I think Salem would talk her into it.
I think the one you really don't want to tick off though is Jeannie because she like did some pretty crazy stuff to Major Nelson, like sending him to the Arctic and like
turning him. Remember that one where they turned small and that cat was like
yes
trying to attack them.
Like she put him in the oven. She put him in the oven once too.
Yeah, that girl was pretty crazy, but hey, I do tend to go for the crazy ones. I mean, like earlier in the show, we were talking about Miley Cyrus, so like I used to be into her too when I was younger. And
AJ Lee.
Yeah, I mean, I just the crazies the crazies attract me, and I attract the crazies. It seems.
A little crazy is good, but you don't want to go too overboard.
Yeah, and that's I tend to do that, unfortunately.
That was DME. That was actually really good, Joe.
Thanks. I tried to do some different stuff, and I actually went better than I thought because I was like hoping I didn't alienate you with wrestling ones, but it's kind of good you had like an idea of some of them too, so that worked out really good.
Yeah, well, he gave us some singers last week that we weren't really familiar with, so it's kind of fun to actually Google some people sometimes that you don't really know that much about.
Yeah, it makes things interesting. I mean, we've kind of gone over a lot of the girls that we all, kind of have had crushes on and whatnot, and kind of grew up having crushes on, and now it's kind of we're kind of going to some of the deeper cuts and picking some of these girls that we wouldn't necessarily think off the top of our head. And I agree. I thought it was really good tonight, Joe.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to the rest of our stuff tonight too.
Now it's time for our weekly quiz, and I'll hand it over to you, TF, because it's your week. I know you don't really like doing the quiz these days.
Yeah, for some reason it's like, I do. You know, it is fun taking quizzes though, but I think I prefer more when I'm taking quizzes that you guys put together, just because I don't know. It's always fun being asked these questions and answering them. But anyways, our quiz for tonight actually is we kind of did a quiz similar to this when we had which Glee girlfriend is, or which Glee girl is your girlfriend, and this is actually which Glee character are you? And here you guys go. So we'll kick this quiz off when you guys are ready. You got the pages ready?
I'm good to go.
All right. Question number 1. In which Glee character are you? How would you describe yourself? Perfect, diva, passionate, mellow, or unique?
I'd probably have to go with unique. Like, I can be passionate about certain things, but there's other things I'm not really all that passionate about. I'm definitely not perfect. I don't know if I'd call myself a diva. I'm not really that mellow either, so I'm going to have to go with unique.
I'm going to go with unique, too, simply because, like you said, I'm certainly not perfect, and I am passionate, but all in all, I would say I'm a pretty unique person, and I'm not necessarily saying that's all in a good way. You know, I definitely, you know, am someone who is my own person in various ways.
I'm definitely not perfect. Maybe I'll go with diva. No, I'm just kidding. But passionate, yeah, that can be the case sometimes, but I wouldn't say all the time. Mellow, I think, is probably like standing out the most to me, just because I don't think I'm that unique from like the average person. And mellow just kind of like I'm not always mellow, but it does work out that way sometimes. So I think I'll go with mellow to be different.
I think that's a good answer for you, honestly. You are a very, very mellow guy, and it's honestly a very nice change of pace when you have guys like me and Chad on your wing. But question number 2: in high school, which clique were you a part of? The jocks, cheerleaders, nerds, band geeks, or you weren't in a clique?
Cheerleaders, no. I mostly hang around with the nerds, so I'm gonna have to go with nerds.
Honestly, it actually has a perfect answer for me. I wasn't in a clique because I never went to regular high school, so I obviously was not in a clique.
And I was never in a clique either, and I did go, so.
All right, then. Question number 3. Do you want to be popular? Absolutely. You already are. You don't try to get it, but it would be nice. No, you love being yourself.
I think I'm gonna have to go with you don't try to get it, but it would be nice, because like I am kind of a nonconformist, and I'm like totally unwilling to like change things about me just to be popular. But at the same time, like I can't really deny that I mean, I think everyone wants to be well liked to some degree, so I'm gonna have to go with that.
Yeah, I do love being myself, but I would be lying if I said that I wouldn't like to be popular in a way, because I mean everybody kind of wants to have that feeling of being someone that everyone knows about and everyone likes, and it isn't the most important thing in the world to me, but I would be being dishonest if I didn't say that was true. So I'm gonna go with I don't try to get it, but it would be nice.
I'm kind of like in the middle there, like no you don't, and kind of like maybe it would be nice in a sense, but there's a lot of pressure that goes there too. So I think I'll go with the it would be nice one, just because it's always a possibility, but you're not like totally ruling it out either.
Question number 4. If you could relive your high school years, what would you have done differently? Dress differently, hang out with different people, join more clubs, be more outgoing, or you would never want to relive it?
To be honest, I really never would want to relive it, but at the same time, I think there is like a part of me that for years dreamed about like kind of being back there and kind of redoing things. So I think even though I like totally believe that everything happens for a reason, I think like if I were like forced to do something differently, I think I would go with be more outgoing.
I would absolutely go with that, because honestly, there were a lot of situations I look back on now and really wish that I had kind of made a move when there were opportunities for me to kind of just really do things that I would have liked to have done, and you know, people who I'd like to have gotten to know, or girls who I even kind of had a chance with back then, that I kind of, you know, kick myself now for not being more, just not being more aware of the fact that, you know, there are opportunities out there to you know, who knows, you never know where something could go, and obviously you can't relive the past. But if I could relive those years, I definitely would be more outgoing, because I have a feeling that I would be a better person today had I just kind of tested the waters more back then.
It's definitely be more outgoing for me too. That like you summed it up perfectly. So yeah, if I can't even like add any more to that, that was pretty well done.
All right. Question number 5. What is your most appealing trait? Sense of humor, fashion sense, athleticism, leadership, or niceness?
Clearly my athleticism. No. I have a pretty good sense of humor, but I think I might have to go with leadership here, just because that kind of defines me in some ways.
I think I'm actually going to have you guys like chime in on this, because I'm really not sure what to pick on this. What do you guys think about this? Because I tend to think of myself as a guy who likes to joke around, but I mean, I don't
Clearly,
really...
it's your high fashion sense, TF.
Yeah, no.
I would go with... I want to say niceness, but there are times where you can be a jerk, and I'm the same way, so don't take offense to that.
I fully admit that I can be a jerk when I want to be.
I'll go with sense of humor.
Although it was kind of she was kind of asking for it. That woman at the counter there at that store can attest to this.
Yeah, I'll go with sense of humor for you. I don't know how Joe feels, but I think that one probably fits you the best.
Yeah, I would go with that too. I mean, I think it kind of goes with niceness too. If you have like a good sense of humor, you kind of like blend in there, being able to like you do kind of like look at some of the stuff like that old lady thing you just talked about. You like made a joke out of it. So even the bad stuff you can find a sense of humor.
You talking about when I winked at that old lady in Chicago?
What?
I'm confused.
I was talking about that lady you talked about chewing out like earlier.
Oh, I thought you were talking about. I thought you said that old lady thing. I was like, old lady.
You ever heard that story, Joe?
I don't think I have.
It was me and him and EFD, our friend Clark, were like walking in Chicago, and I'm like, "Hey TF, I dare you to wink at that old lady," and he did it, and she got like this weird outlook.
Oh man, we'll see. That just goes in line with the sense of humor, so I got to go with that.
I'll go with that then. You guys do bring up some good points.
I think I hate picking for myself too, but I think I'll just go with niceness, just because that seems like the most. Like,
I agree with that.
Sense of humor doesn't fit. Not a fashion sense, not really athleticism, not leadership. So that's kind of like by default.
You're a nice man most of the time.
I totally agree. And, I mean, honestly, it probably doesn't get a whole lot nicer than him. Like when he's feeling like being nice. So, moving on to question number 6. Which of the following would you rather do? Perform, teach, inspire, or watch?
That's kind of a tough one. Like, I'm kind of wondering what they mean by, like, inspire. Like, wouldn't that be kind of the same as teach in some ways?
I think teaching is kind of more of, like, showing people something or how to do something, whereas inspiring might be kind of, like, let's say you were like a painter or something like that, and you, like, inspired other people to, like, get into painting or, like, exploring art. That's just kind of the way I see it, but I mean, I guess it's open for interpretation.
I am kind of an artist with like my writing, so and I'm not really that good of a teacher. Like I can be an okay teacher, but I think I would actually like prefer people to just kind of like look at what I'm doing and kind of be inspired. So I guess I'll go with that.
I think I would go with inspire, just because. Like you said about the teaching thing, I'm not really a teacher, and that's kind of too by the books for me and too by the rules. And I tend to be someone who kind of challenges the rules, not necessarily makes the rules. And
same.
I would of course love to perform, but ultimately I would just like to inspire people. I mean, if I could go out there and do something that made people want to follow their dreams, I mean, really, what more could you do? I mean, you could teach people a lot of things, but I mean, just putting that fire behind someone to actually want to go out there and do what they've dreamed of doing, to me that's something special altogether, and altogether different than anything else.
I'm kind of like, it's kind of hard there too, to like trying to figure out what like exactly you're inspiring them for, like what like task or whatever. But that seems more like kind of like a behind the scenes thing where you're gonna like inspire them through to go out there and perform to their best, like TF said. And I think I'll go with that too, just because. Like, I can't see myself performing. That's just crazy. But like watching was kind of like an option too. But I think Inspire is kind of like the best of both worlds, because obviously you're doing something productive and like firing people up and giving them a reason to want to do what they do. So it is kind of a good feeling there.
Hey, you could always be a mime.
Yes. Well, I was gonna say technically you are performing right now.
That is true. I don't know if I'm inspiring right now, but I am performing right now.
You're inspiring me, man.
Who knows? I mean, there could be some guy out there who's like in your shoes right now, basically, and you're inspiring them to like follow their dreams. You never know.
Follow their dreams by taking this quiz.
I want to be the second sidekick on that podcast one day. Doggone it.
And hey, I mean, if your internet ever decides to go back the way it was, we may need that a new guy on here. So like, who knows? I mean, someone might get their big break with us and go on to be like the next Ryan Seacrest.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Pancake Boat Podcast. This is our other co-host today, Hank. How you doing today, Hank?
Hank Hill.
Hank Hill.
Question number 7. Has life been harsh to you? Of course. You have no idea. No, you live a charmed life. It's a little hard, but that's okay.
It kind of has in some ways. I've actually had like some really screwed up stuff happen in my childhood, and like like my life. Like if other people looked at it from the outside, they probably would think it's pretty sad. But I'm actually in a pretty good place right now. I'm not really bitter like I used to be. So I think I'm gonna have to go with it's a little hard, but that's okay.
I think I'm actually going to go with you have no idea, just because whereas, I mean, it says harsh, not necessarily has life been like awful for you or anything, but I think that a lot of people would be surprised at some of the things that I've gone through in my life, and
yeah,
the things
I should have picked that too, but I didn't.
And some of the strange, like just not necessarily bad things, but just the strange things that life has kind of thrown at me, and like some of the things that I've had to do in my life that are kind of crazy, but like not necessarily bad, but I mean, it definitely has been an interesting ride, and not always in a good way for me.
I think if I go back and pick that, it'll like mess up the quiz, or
I doubt it. I think I've done that before.
Okay, well I'm actually gonna pick that too, because I think that probably fits me a lot too.
Really, I don't think anybody could just like look at me and just assume like some of the crazy things that I've experienced in my life. But what about you, Joe?
I grew up around like mafia people and drug dealers and stuff.
Yeah, I feel you there.
I really can't compare to that, but I'm gonna go with I have no idea in a sense, just because there are times in your life where you do think maybe it's kind of harsh, but it's, and like you listen to what you guys said, and it's like there's probably someone out there who like has like a way more harsh life than you, so it's like where's the barometer there to me? So it's like you have no idea. So I think I got to go with like I have no idea, because I mean maybe my life is harsh, but I don't know. I mean, it's not for me to decide, I guess I'm saying. So I'll go with I have no idea.
Well, actually, I think what they mean by like you have no idea is like that's like the response that you would say to them. Like they're not actually like saying you is like you. You know what I mean?
What? You just confused me there.
Like let's say somebody said, "Have you had a harsh life?" and you responded like, "You have no idea."
Oh.
Yeah, that's what they mean. They don't mean like actually you.
Well, now I gotta go back. Oops. I'll go with a little hard, but it's okay. That kind of seems like the best one there, because I don't think I live like a charm life. That to me is like filling a hot tub.
I don't think any of us have lived.
Yeah, it's like filling a hot tub with champagne or something like that. So that's definitely not me. So I'll go with that one.
Question number 8. Did you ever aspire to fit in? You didn't need to try, you just did. Yes, and you worked hard to achieve it. No, fitting in is overrated.
I'm gonna go with no, fitting in is overrated, because that was totally my attitude back in school. Like I would actually like go out of my way just to be different, because I kind of like wanted people to. I just wanted to stand out. That's like one thing that's always been really important to me, is to just stand out.
In a sense, for me, I kind of did try to fit in some ways. Not really like try to fit in, like kind of change who I was, but there were some times where I kind of thought about like, kind of like trying things out that other people did, or that other people were kind of into at the time. But ultimately, it wasn't like I worked hard to try and fit in, and I definitely didn't fit in enough where I didn't have to try. So I'm gonna go with fitting in is overrated, because there were a lot of times when I did think about it, but I never would actually, go through with trying to fit in or doing things that would make me fit in, because, well, ultimately, if I would have done that, I think I would be a little bit different than I am right now. And obviously, I didn't try very hard to fit in, or I would probably be a very different person considering some of the people I grew up around.
I'm gonna go with no, fitting is overrated too. It's not really I thought it was overrated. It's kind of like I never really worked hard to achieve that or try, and you can't say that I tried and I just did. So kind of like by default, I got to go with no.
I gotta say, this is really off topic here, but I think that picture of like Leia Michelle there on the side is like adorable.
It's amusing me like seeing that, like throwing. I don't even know what that is. What is that like?
It's like there's like this running gag on the show where like the Glee cast members would get like the jocks would come in and throw like a slushie on them, and
oh man, that's awesome.
That's kind of like awesome. That's kind of like this promo picture they use a lot with that, which is kind of funny because they're not the ones who throw the slushies, but yeah, I do agree.
Need to start watching that show.
Well, you have plenty of time to catch up if you ever feel like it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, so
anytime
I want to, really.
All right, question number 9. How important is appearance to you? Not at all, somewhat, or very?
Very. Back in high school, like, I really did not care, but I think around, like, 2003, that, like, took a total turn where I, like, actually started putting I kind of, like, started caring a lot about how I appear, because I was like, okay, it's time for me to meet girls, and that didn't really work out, but, like, I had, like, already started, like, kind of dressing, like, kind of preppy, and I don't know, like, I kind of like that style, so, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with very.
You do definitely have your own style. This question is kind of confusing to me, because I wonder if it's talking about like your appearance or like appearance with someone else, or. But
I think it means like whether you care about like taking care of yourself, like if you mind like going out like looking like with like 5 o'clock shadow and.
Well, in that case, I definitely have to go with very, because it definitely is something that's important to me. I'm a very OCD man about these things, and like if I ever have to go out like with a 5 o'clock shadow, like you just mentioned, I do not like doing that at all, and it's something that I try to avoid at all costs. So
I do too, although for the longest time, I think you can back me up here, I was quite terrible at shaving.
Yeah, yeah. I'll leave it
I've
at
gotten a lot
that.
better ever since I bought an electric razor. Like back when I had to shave, like I just
I
wanted to
need
get
one
it
of
done as
those.
quick as possible.
I badly want one of those.
It's very convenient because you can just sit there like doing anything and you're like shaving and you can actually put in the time. Whereas when I'm like standing in the bathroom with one of those old razors, I just like want to get it done as quick as possible.
And they cut you often, which is not fun.
No.
I have very sensitive skin on my face.
Very tedious activity.
Oh, yes. Especially if you let it go for a while.
Yeah.
And then there are patches. Oh.
Yeah.
Anyways, Joe, what is your thought? What are your thoughts on this?
I like that 5 o'clock shadow thing is like that is kind of like an important thing to me. Like I hate that feeling of that too, but
I can't imagine you with a 5 o'clock shadow.
I had
actually he had one in Chicago.
I was gonna say like a little bit because
you mentioned that, but I actually didn't notice that somehow. I
noticed it, especially when I was sitting like right on the Ferris wheel with him, because I was like sitting right next to him, and I like looked over and saw him with that like lumberjack shirt on. He had like 5 o'clock shadow, and I was like,
that I remember.
Visual.
I'm gonna go with somewhat, just because I don't think I'm as like I go out there in the t-shirt and jeans. So I really don't care about that, but in terms of the 5 o'clock shadow, that kind of like puts me in the middle there.
All right. Question number 10. How important are other people's opinions? All that matters is how you feel about yourself. Their opinion is how you define yourself, or it depends on who the person is.
It depends on who the person is. Like one of you guys, if you have like a strong opinion about something, like that would actually mean a lot to me. But if like some jerk just walked up to me and he's like telling me something, like that doesn't matter to me. So it definitely depends on the person.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. In a sense, I do like think that it's always a good thing to say that, you know, all that matters is how you feel about yourself. But I mean, there are some people in your life that you do have to put some importance on their opinions, and obviously you guys are people who I definitely, you know, take your opinions to heart, and I look to you guys for advice a lot, and I think I really value your opinions, and obviously the same can be said about my family. So I'm going to go with it depends on who the person is too, because like you said, if it's just some random guy who you don't know, I mean, obviously their opinion is not going to matter especially when it's put up against someone who like you, I've basically grown up with. So, yeah.
I got to go with the same thing too. I mean, there's not really much to add because you guys pretty much covered it, but you really do. It depends on the person because there are people's opinions are important, but there's also a part of me at the same time. It kind of matters on how you feel about yourself because one person's opinion is something, but at the end it's kind of like what you want out of things, depending on what the situation is. That kind of depends too. So
That's true. Like the time TF said I was a crappy singer.
Oh man, I felt so bad about that, but that was kind of dishonest of you to trick me into admitting that.
Yeah, it was. I appreciated your honesty, though.
Honestly, though, I mean, I have heard worse singers than you. I mean, it's not like you were like the worst singer ever, but I think what I said was don't quit your day job or something like that.
I appreciate that you think I'm better than like William Hung or Rebecca Black. Actually, I heard like Rebecca Black's most recent song, and she's actually not that bad.
The funny thing is that I realize that she's not really a singer per se, and not really that great of a singer, but she's honestly better than someone like Katy Perry, who, quite frankly, and this is not really like, I like Katy Perry, I have no problem with her, but she cannot sing for crap, and honestly, like, the only difference between her and Rebecca Black is the fact that Rebecca Black's team around her was not quite as good at getting her the right songs and making her sound any better, because other than that, there really isn't much of a difference from them. And one thing I do like about Katy Perry, and this is kind of getting off topic here a little bit, is that she kind of did have a little bit of respect for Rebecca, because she had her in that song of hers that last Friday night or TGIF, and had her in the video. So I guess she kind of got the same feeling I did, where it's like, hey, she's not really that bad of a singer when you consider some of the people out there who are singing. I mean, even Britney Spears, you see how popular she is, but like, I don't think hearing her sing live would be a very pretty thing. Which is kind of weird, because she was actually a really good singer when she was a kid on, like, what was that, like America's Got Talent or something like that, whatever that show was back then. Like, she was like this really good singer when she was
I think it was.
Yeah, Star Search. Yeah, she was like a really good singer as a kid. But who knows?
Smoking will do it to you.
Yeah, that's true. And she does smoke. We know that. It's unfortunate, too. I mean,
yeah.
I cannot say enough bad things about smoking.
Don't smoke, kids.
I don't think it's people who do smoke, though, by the way. I mean, if you smoke, I mean, obviously my mom smoked for, 30 years? I mean, I know she eventually developed cancer, but, I mean, that just goes to show you, just don't smoke, because it's going to lead to bad things. I've seen it firsthand.
Mine does, too, and I don't like it. I never have.
Yeah, my mom always says that, if there was any way she could get out there and show everyone just how bad it really is for you and, like, what it can cause, like, she would do that. And honestly, I really don't...
I was going to say, I'll tell you, like, every week, like, me and Joe watch TNA Impact, and they always show this really disturbing commercial that I think has scarred us off from ever smoking. With, like, this lady with the voice box, and,
Yeah, unfortunately, my mom has to, is kind of in that situation now, but...
Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, well, I mean, it is scary, though. I mean, that could happen to anybody. It's really so easy for it to happen. You don't even know about it. Anyways, did you even answer this question, Joe? We got so...
Yeah, I did the opinion, what do you call it? It depends on the person.
Yeah, I kind of got way sidetracked there, but question 11.
Almost forgot we were taking a quiz.
Yeah, me too, but I guess we kind of had a short show tonight, so anything we can add on here is good. What motivates you? Family and friends? The end result? The competition? Or nothing?
I gotta go with family and friends here, because, like, when family and friends are around, like, you kind of take it for granted. Like, you can be driven by the competition or whatever else, but I've noticed that, like, if I'm just doing something by myself and no one else is around to see it, it really doesn't seem to matter. So, for me, I would definitely have to go with family and friends. Like, if I did this podcast, like, I realize we don't have that many listeners, but if I was, like, doing this podcast all by myself, and I had, like, no viewers at all, I would, like, probably not even want to do it anymore. Whereas at least doing it together, I mean, at least we get to hear each other's opinions and stuff. So I would have to go with family and friends.
I totally agree with that. I'm notoriously bad at motivating myself, and if it wasn't for my family and friends, you guys being around me, I don't know, I would definitely not have the patience to continue doing this podcast, even if people did listen to it, just because I kind of need that support group around me to kind of keep me going, because there are times where if I don't see like an instantaneous result, I kind of get distracted from it and move on to something else. I guess that's my ADD, but yeah. So family and friends, like that's a big motivation for me.
Yeah, I got to go with family and friends too. I mean, even if you're not really focused, like if you're doing something on your own, like Chad said, and maybe you're down about it, and you kind of like run out of your motivation, you can always rely on your family and friends to kind of bring you out of that and kind of like pick you back up again. So I got to go with that. It's just probably the best motivational support you can have.
Question number 12. What is the most important thing for you? Fame, family, fortune, friends, or fun? That's a lot of F's.
Yeah. I'm going to go with family here, but I'm going to include you guys because you guys really are like my brothers, whereas like friends here, like since family and friends aren't together, I'm going to consider friends to be like kind of like acquaintances that you have, whereas I definitely consider you guys family, so I'm going to go with family.
I got to go with that too, because like basically we are family. I mean, all that's missing is the blood relation, to be honest with you, because we basically do everything together and as a group, so it doesn't get much more tight-knit than that. I mean, honestly, there are probably a lot of families who are blood related that aren't as close as we are, so I'm going to go with family there too, just because I consider you guys to be my family.
Fortune, definitely fortune. No, I'm just kidding. I'll go with family too. For the sake, like I said,
I bet you're kidding.
Money bags, Joe.
Swimming in a hot tub full of money.
Hot tub full of money.
And champagne.
There you go.
Okay, that would really be. You'd really have to have a lot of money to do that, because you'd basically be ruining the money when you do that.
That's true.
All right, question 13. What are people's first impression of you? You're perfect, you're nice, you're annoying, or you're pathetic?
Wow. I'm gonna sound really bad picking this, but honestly, like I'm talking more like offline. I think because of the fact that I don't really smoke or drink or party or anything like that, like a lot of my family actually do think I'm perfect. Like especially the ones that don't really know me that well. Like my mom kind of knows that I have my faults here and there, but like my aunts and uncles, they like, oh well, Chad, he's a good boy. He's like everyone should aspire to be like him. And like I said, like I'm kind of coming off bad picking that, but these really aren't the best choices, so I kind of have to go with that one.
I'm actually going to go with that too, for some of the same reasons. Like, honestly, being kind of a reserved person, people's first impression is definitely not that I'm nice, because I do tend to be reserved, and I don't think that people think that I'm annoying or and as tempted as I am to go with that they think I'm pathetic. Oh. I'm going to actually go with that people think I'm perfect too, because I guess because I am kind of this laid back, guy who is kind of like, I'm not necessarily the most clean-cut looking guy, but as far as like the way I am and the way I live, I kind of am pretty as clean-cut as it gets, as straight edge as it gets for guys that are my age. I mean, as far as not drinking or doing drugs or partying, and a lot of people's first impressions would be that I'm perfect. And in a way, I kind of hate that, because I don't really want people to think that I'm some goody two-shoes guy who thinks that I'm too good for a lot of things. I really am a lot more accepting than you would think when you just look at on paper and see that I disagree with all these things that so many people my age do, but nonetheless, that is probably what people's first impression is, whether it's right or wrong.
I'm okay with people thinking I'm perfect.
I'll go with you're nice. That just seems better fitting for me.
People don't think you're perfect, Joe? Your family don't like think of you in like this highlight?
Not really. I don't think so. I don't really see that much. I mean, maybe some of them, but not like all of them. So it's not like a parent like said all the time. So I really can't go with that in that sense.
Okay, almost done with this quiz now, guys. Question number 14: what is your greatest fear? Anonymity, having no friends, wearing non-designer clothes, getting lost in the crowd, or germs?
Let's go with having no friends. I absolutely hate the idea of being alone more than anything else, so I would definitely have to go with that.
I have to go with that too, as again, I'm very tempted to click on germs here, because I am very much a germaphobe, but having no friends, honestly, if I was just trying to sit around here and live for myself, I don't know if I could do it, because I I've just become so accustomed to having such good friends around me that not having you guys there, I just would really struggle for finding a reason to even get up in the morning.
Same.
I can't. Getting lost in the crowd, man. I don't even know. I don't even know what like anonymity means. Like, it's like
it means like nobody like thinking of you in a special way. You're just kind of like a guy.
Oh, I was like picturing like having to like live your life under some like Persuado name or something for like the Secret Service.
I don't think that's what they mean. Although it could
I was
be,
like
man.
really confused. But I gotta go with the friends thing too. It's just like the most obvious choice. I mean, it's just. I mean, really, you can deal with all these things, but when you get to that, it's kind of like the most obvious standout one. Although the non-designer clothes one is kind of like a close one.
Alrighty, last question of the night. What's your motto? Well, actually, we do have 5 random questions, so it's not the last question of the night, but the last question of the quiz. What's your motto in life? Life sucks, then you die. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. All the world's a stage. Be nice to your enemies, it'll drive them crazy. Or life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain.
I think I'm gonna have to go with that last one because that actually does sound like something I'd probably say. Like it really isn't about like waiting for the storm to pass. I mean, you should just enjoy your life as it is. Like nobody's life is perfect, but you know, there's always things that you can find to enjoy about life. So yeah, I think I'd have to go with that last one. I like that one.
I'd probably go with beauty is in the eye of the beholder, just because. I mean, not necessarily even talking about like physical beauty, but really everybody has like a different opinion on what's beautiful, and if you're talking about art or someone's personality or pretty much anything, and there's so many different things in this world that you could find beauty in, and I think that's just something that's just kind of a motto I could really get behind.
It's kind of tough because like some of these kind of do feel like I wouldn't pick this one when I think about like be nice to your enemies, they'll drive them crazy. It's kind of like a true fact because I know when like I make someone mad and when I make someone mad and you like they're expecting you to like go great, like they say something to make you angry and then they're like and you're just like nice to them, they get angry at that because they're like
they feel bad.
Yeah, they feel bad, and not just that. It's just like kind of like that general idea of like they want you to get mad at them, and get mean at them. So it's like when you don't give them what they want, they get even angrier at that. But that all the world's a stage. When I kind of get that too, in the sense of like, it's kind of like you can kind of compare life to like something on stage or a TV show because it goes through various stages. But I think I'll go with the last one too, just because it kind of fits the mood of everything. Like, even though things aren't good, you always look for that bright side of it all. So I got to go with that.
All right, that does it. I really don't know if we should even try to see what we think each other got, because
we may as well. I actually have a prediction for Joe. I'll go here first. I don't really know the characters that well, but I'm actually gonna take a guess that he maybe got that guy in the wheelchair, just because like picturing Joe as that guy kind of amuses me. What do you think, Tia?
That's kind of funny because I actually was gonna pick him too. I was gonna pick Artie, or either him or probably Will is kind of like the teacher guy, just because I could kind of see Joe being like that guy later on in his life. But ultimately, I would say that he probably is more kind of like Artie out of the guys. Like, I think Artie might be a little more outgoing, and sometimes he can be kind of arrogant and at times, which is kind of hilarious. But I mean, according to you, I mean, Joe can be that way sometimes. I mean, I don't really see that side of him much, but
I see a side of him that not many people see. So.
Well,
he
for
does
you,
have
Chad,
his moments.
I mean, I this is kind of going out of order here, but for you, Chad, I mean, I definitely see you as Finn, just because he's kind of like, the head guy, like kind of like the leader of the pack, and I definitely, I don't know, I mean, not only that, but I mean, he also is dating Rachel, so I mean,
I'll definitely be him then. But who'd you actually get, Joe?
I got it's customary. I got Emma Pillsbury. Nice, but at times very complicated. You give advice to others, but your own life is in desperate need of some fixing because of your attraction to unavailable people. You are a tad obsessive when it comes to cleanliness or cleanly. Okay, I don't know.
Cleanliness.
Yes. Overall, you are a sweet and calm person. I have no idea what to make of this.
I can see some of that. I mean, you do kind of fall for unavailable people, so.
I really don't know if I see this. I mean, she's kind of like this really like OCD girl who's like always washing her hands. I mean, she's not like one of the students. She's like actually one of.
Oh, well, that sounds more like us.
Yeah, she's just kind of like this oddball, and I actually kind of can see a little bit of her, in us too. But I really can't see much of her in any of us. But that's an interesting result there.
Well, TF predicted that Finn guy for me, and if he's dating Rachel, I'm all for that. And I think I actually know who he's talking about, and I could see that too. So yeah, I think I'll go with that guy too. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, the guy played by Corey Monteith.
I would kind of agree too. I think if he's like the leader, then it kind of makes sense because he is kind of the leader of our pack. So I say why not go for it, making Finn. It just fits to me when you say like leader. That's like the key word there.
I actually got.
If you didn't get Finn, I have no idea what you could have gotten, so this is going to be interesting.
I got Will Schuester. It says, you are passionate, determined, and positive. You are very enthusiastic in what you do, sometimes too much. You work tirelessly for what you believe in, which may cause your priorities to get mixed up. But above all, you want to help others unlock their true potential. Well, I do.
Believe it or not, I can actually really see that, and I can see you being like that, maybe when you're a little bit older and... So I mean I still think of you as like the Finn of the group, but I think that in a way you or Joe, I can see you both being in kind of that Schuster mold when you're maybe 35, 40, something like that.
I have no idea who to pick for TF. I think like that Finn guy and the wheelchair guy are like the only characters I even know as far as the guys go. Maybe I'll just go with like one of the gay guys just to be funny.
Well, I was gonna say, reading it seems like maybe you might hate me for this, TF, because I don't even know who this is, but like the Mike Chang guy, he might be good.
Mike Chang, actually, you can kind of see that in a way.
Yeah, it says he's like shy and stuff. So I can kind of see it being you and kind of like.
I'll go with that too.
And he dates Tina. I don't know who Tina is, but he dates Tina, so he gets to date someone.
Yeah, I can kind of see that in a way. Actually, he's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of this running joke about him being this Asian guy who can't really sing or something like that, and like he's always in the background. And in a way, I kind of see that kind of fits more of you, Joe, because you kind of like shy away from the spotlight, which
that is true.
Like, you won't sing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so it does. I can't believe I didn't actually think about that, but from like the questions on the quiz, it didn't really seem like he was going to be like a result, but. Believe it or not, I actually got Will Schuester too. So
I've never actually seen this Will Schuester guy, but seems like a nice enough guy.
Yeah, I like him a lot. He's really like Glee wouldn't be Glee without him, because literally he's like he's the
Mr.
guy. Pretty much. I mean, he's like the guy who's kind of like the I don't know what you would call it, but like the guy who kind of runs the Glee club and he used to be in a Glee club, and like it's kind of his dream to kind of get these kids to like go all the way, like win all like
a mentor of sorts.
Yeah, like win like nationals and regionals and all that, just because like he kind of never really like he's kind of trying to like recreate what he did when he was younger, and like kind of like maybe like push them to like do more than he was able to do when he was young.
Oh, that was a good quiz, TF. It was. Took up some time too, which we really kind of needed tonight because we actually had a pretty short show so far.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's always kind of interesting to throw something in there that maybe we're not all 100% familiar with, because it kind of adds this unfamiliarity to it all, where kind of makes you think a little more about the answers and kind of research the characters. I mean, if it's a character quiz like Saved by the Bell or something, like we know all about those characters and it's kind of easy to pick from, but.
Yeah, and you're kind of subconsciously, like, even if, like, something doesn't fit, like, I always try and fit the answers that most fit me, but at the same time, like, subconsciously, like, you probably want to get a certain character.
Yeah, that's very true.
All right, guys, it's time for 5 random questions, and it's my week, and I always look forward to this, because I always really enjoy answering the questions, but I always enjoy coming up with my own, too. You guys ready for this?
It should be good. I'm ready.
It's always my favorite part of the show right here.
All right, me too. I'm going to let you go first here, Joe, because this is actually inspired by a question that you asked last week. It's like, I really like that question that you asked about the new version of Saved by the Bell. So I'm actually going to ask the same thing here. casting all of the characters, who would you cast in a modern day version, a movie remake of Gilligan's Island?
Oh man, this is really, it's good because I have to like try and think of like a good Gilligan, because it's like that's a good role. Like just thinking about who can actually play that role. Oh man, I'm trying. Like I am just like getting all these ideas for like the skipper, like John Goodman is a skipper or something like that. Just all these wacky ideas of like the skipper being this hilarious guy, or like Danny DeVito, or someone being like the skipper, like just random hilarious guys.
Danny DeVito.
I don't know. Just like
I can see John Goodman, but I can't see Danny DeVito.
I think I'll go with John Goodman as a skipper though. It just seems like it writes itself there. And in terms of like the Gilligan, that's like the toughest one I can think of, just because he's such a unique character. And I'm trying to think of like a good like comedy actor, like kind of like a goofball in a sense, that kind of works in that role, being kind of like that Gilligan character. And well, I'm trying to think of like a rich, arrogant guy too, to kind of like fit in that mold too. It's
rich, arrogant guy.
You have like stumped me here. I'm like trying to think of some good. Like
I think of a perfect Mr. Howell, but I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I don't want it to affect your decision.
Yeah, I am like just really in thought here of like this thing. So I give you guys credit last week, because like being in your role now, I can see how it was kind of like a little difficult. But I have like I'm trying to think of like some like kind of youngish actor that can like play a Gilligan, just because it's such a unique role. I kind of like try and think of someone that fits that bill. And I hate to say this because like he's kind of old now, but I kind of see like maybe Adam Sandler in that role, just because he adapts that comedy goofball role well. He might be able to
actually see that.
Yeah, he could like pull off a good Gilligan. I could see him like playing Gilligan. And
Adam Sandler and John Goodman. That sounds hilarious.
And then you have like the professor, who I'm trying to think of like so you have to have someone like sophisticated for like someone who's a real good, like a nerd kind of. I might, okay, no, he's kind of young for that. I was gonna go like Harry Potter, like Daniel Radcliffe, because he has that glasses look. He looks kind of like sophisticated, but I think
that's way too young.
Yeah, he's way too young for that role. Someone a little older here. I like, just because I'm a wrestling fan, I'm kind of like tempted to say like Mike Tenay, just because he's like the professor. But an actual professor is like, wow, this has me stumped. I can like try and think of some people, but no, he wouldn't make a good. I was gonna say like maybe like Tom Hanks in that role, just because he'd be hilarious as the professor, like building the stuff. I don't think he'd fit like that actual professor role. So
I could maybe see it, but I don't know. Like I don't
think he makes the best professor there. I'm trying to like someone who like has that look to them, where they kind of look like smug and sophisticated in terms of. Not so much smug, but like sophisticated in terms of being kind of like a classical actor, and someone who's not too old either, because you can't really like cast someone old there. So, man, I am like stumped by some of these characters, because they're really so specific. I mean,
what about the girls, Marianne and Ginger?
That's again like kind of tough, because you have to think of like just a good. It's kind of like these roles are so like tailored to these people that you kind of like have to adapt to them. I mean. I think in terms of like, well, when I think of Ginger, I think of someone kind of like, you know, kind of like, I don't want to say sassy in that sense, but kind of like kind of arrogant in themselves, and kind of like, you know, that movie star type of person. And
yeah, I can see that.
You would kind of have to work with me here, but I think because she did such a great job in like Sharpay, I would go like Ashley Tisdale as Ginger, just because she plays that like that movie star role. So she probably have to like change a lot of her look to be that role.
Yeah, actually, if she dyed her hair red, I could see that.
Yeah, I could see her like pulling off that role well, and I would go with her there. And in terms of Mary Ann, she seems more like the nicer type more than anything. So I'm gonna like she's like that simple girl. So I gotta go with like someone who's more of a simple girl. And I'm trying to think of like someone who can fit that well, especially being kind of like her in the sense of having the same look and all. See, like my first instinct would be to say like Taylor Swift, just because she plays that simple girl so well. But I don't think she would make like a good Mary Ann, just because she doesn't really like resemble her that much. And
not really.
Wow, like this is like a really good question, Jack. Because like this is making me think in my mind. So I appreciate this question. And
I'm actually having fun listening to like try and cast this, and I'm actually amused by the idea of like Adam Sandler and John Goodman as like a comedic duo.
I know this is kind of like an out there one, and her reputation outside of like the stuff doesn't work, but she is like a kind of like a simple girl, and she does kind of like that darker hair. I think I'm actually go with like Miley Cyrus as Marianne, just because she has like that simple girl image of being like from the more of the simple girl, like kind of reserved in that role. But she,
okay, I gotta admit, I'm really not into her as much as I used to be, but that would be kind of hot.
I can actually see this because like her character Miley on the Hannah Montana show could kind of fit
like the simple character. So
yeah.
In terms of like Mr. Howell, that's actually like a very good one. Just because I'm trying to think of like you have to like find someone who like make this good millionaire rich man, and I can think of
this is like really easy for me.
Yeah, like my instinct is to say like let's put Donald Trump in that movie, but I don't think
that was my idea.
I was thinking him. I was like, I don't know how he'd be good at acting in that, but I'd love to have him in that movie. So
he's done some acting.
Yeah, I think I would go with Donald Trump in that. He's just so fitting for that. In terms of Mrs. Howell, that's a little bit harder, just because you like you have to think of some like older, sophisticated woman to be in that role, and this is actually a really good like Mrs. Howell is like maybe the toughest one so far, just because she's kind of more. You have to think of like older in terms of who this could be, and
Danny DeVito in a dress.
Danny DeVito in a dress.
What the heck?
I'm going to sound weird for saying this, but I'm kind of just going with like a seasoned actress who might fit the role well and be able to adapt and kind of like out there and wacky in a sense. I'm going to go with Jamie Lee Curtis just because I think maybe she'd be able to fit the role. I don't know.
I actually think that's a great choice.
Yeah, I kind of see her in that role. And
it's really hard these days to find like an older like female actress. It just is. It's always hard, but I mean, especially like when you're looking to cast someone so specific.
I mean, come on, your first instinct would be like think Betty White and like Donald Trump, but I don't think that would work as well, especially since she's kind of older.
She's too old for Trump.
Yeah, so I got to go with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Wait, who'd you say with Donald Trump?
Betty White. She's too old for Trump, though.
Yeah, I believe that just leaves a professor. I might be wrong, but
no, I think that's just a professor.
Okay, so the professor is like I'm trying to think of someone who like has like kind of a glasses type of look to it. That kind of looks sophisticated enough to be the professor. And is it bad? Well, he's kind of young. Well, he's not that young. I kind of want to go with like Lee Norris in this role, just because he fits that nerd character so well. He kind of like would kind of be kind of a professor there, but I don't think he.
I don't think he really fits that at all.
Yeah. He's not really though. And I'm picturing someone kind of like who's smart enough to be kind of a professor, but also kind of like jockish in a sense, because the professor was really like kind of like fit in the show too. And
I actually just got this perfect idea of someone who I think looks like him and probably could play him, but I don't want to spoil it. You want a hint though?
Go ahead.
He's on 2 sitcoms that we like.
He's on 2 sitcoms that we like.
One is still on, and one just ended a few years ago.
I'm actually stumped by this, because I can only think of like a couple of shows that are even still on that like maybe I watched in the past. So
you watched it a lot.
I know what you're talking about. Jensen Ackles.
Jensen Ackles?
Yeah, I don't know. That was like the most near, because Supernatural, and you kind of have like
Supernatural's not a sitcom.
Okay, I kind of took that the wrong way, but I'm guessing you mean Leonard from Big Bang Theory. Am I wrong there? Yeah, I don't know. I'm stumped.
The janitor from Scrubs.
The janitor. Wow, I wouldn't have at all thought of that. So, like, I was thinking some more like well-known actor, because that's
what I was going to ask is he was in 2 shows you guys were watching?
Who?
What's his name? The guy from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Okay,
not really.
I'm like.
He was in Roseanne, but.
Roseanne. That's not a show that just ended, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm always stumped here, so I might have to get back to you on that, because I'm like stumped in the professor role, and I don't want like you to spoil your answer, because I think you should save that for yourself at the end. So maybe you could do like last week, where you kind of like went back to yours. And
all right, TF, what about you?
Well, Gilligan's Island, growing up, was one of my favorite shows, and really one of my favorite shows of all time, even though I haven't watched it in probably probably almost 10 years now. But so I really wish I had more time to put some thought into this, but I definitely put a lot of thought into it already. Well, while Joe was picking his cast members. So this is actually really one of my favorite questions that's ever been asked here on 5 Random Questions.
Really?
As far as who I'd cast with Gilligan, I kind of put some thought into this, and I was trying to think of some guy who could probably kind of, in a way, kind of embody that goofiness that Gilligan had. And off the top of my head, the only guy I could really think of was Andy Samberg, and I thought that he kind of would, like, if they were doing like a new
awesome
version
choice.
that he would like be able to really like embody that whole slapstick kind of comedy that Gilligan was known for so much. And obviously no one's going to play Gilligan like Bob Denver, but I mean,
that is actually a really awesome choice. I was thinking like Shia LaBeouf, and now I can say that now since you both casted
it's a
it. But
pretty good one, though.
I actually think Andy is better.
For the skipper, actually, I'm thinking that the father from Wizards of Waverly Place, David Dealey.
He would be great.
Yeah.
For some reason, he just kind of looked like the skipper to me. I can imagine him in that skipper outfit and like kind of hitting Gilligan over the head with his hat, like in the classic show. The professor was kind of hard for me because he was kind of such a unique looking guy, kind of like that classic Hollywood like hunk type guy almost in a way. And for him, I chose Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who like I don't really know if he looks a lot like him, but I can kind of see him playing that character really well. And so I'm gonna pick him for that.
He's a little young, but I could actually probably see him pulling that off, especially if they like made his hair look a little older or something.
Yeah, he's kind of young for that still, but I mean, the professor really wasn't like an older guy per se. But for Ginger, it's kind of hard because she kind of was like that like classic kind of like almost Marilyn Monroe type like Hollywood actress. And I'm not really going to go picking through their actions. I think it could really kind of put on her look so much as kind of play her character these days, because obviously the whole Hollywood movie star type woman is a lot different than it was back then. But I was going to go with like a redhead or someone who kind of looked a little bit like her. And I put a little bit of thought into it. I thought maybe Emma Stone could kind of play that character, even though she doesn't really have that kind of look to her like someone like a classic movie star from like the 50s or something like that. But I think it would kind of add like a little bit of like a younger, like more modern twist to it.
I went with the obvious one with like Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Maybe she kind of like, I think if you said her like say like 5 years ago or something like that, that would be like a perfect choice, because she was kind of curvier back then, whereas now she's kind of like almost anorexic at times, and that definitely is not Ginger. But for Marianne, and she shows up in our podcast a lot, but I just see Lucy Hale playing her really well, just because she kind of has that look to her like Marianne it had. Like, I love
that choice.
I could see her like wearing those like short shorts and that
I can do.
Yeah, it's not a bad look for her. But
I wouldn't mind being stuck on an island with her.
Me either. But the Millionaire and Mr. Howell and Mrs. Howell was kind of hard for me. But I just kind of went with what I thought would be funny. So I just put down like Abe Vigoda and Betty White.
Okay, that is funny.
Like I can't really imagine it being like this rich couple. But I mean, really, there's not really a lot of older actors or actresses to choose from. But like you really like you can't really get much better than like you said, Donald Trump. That's kind of like perfect. Like, I didn't even like a millionaire. I was like the billionaire. But those are my choices. Some of them better than others, but I try to put as much thought into it as I could, because I really, really loved that question. So yeah, I hats off to you, Joe or Chad.
No.
Joe. What I was gonna say is that is hats off to Joe for like going first, because it kind of gave me some time to think about it,
Yeah, because I actually want to do these casting ones quite a bit, because I really like those. But you ever come up with a... What'd you say?
I was just going to say, but no, all credit goes to you for like making like such an awesome, question right there. And for also like taking Joe to go first, because I really am glad I got to put some thought into this.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling you might appreciate that after last week, because I know you don't like being put on the spot with questions like that. But did you ever come up with the Professor, Joe?
Okay, now this is kind of out there as a choice, and I realize that, but he played like a smarmy kind of like he looks pretty fit. I'm gonna go with John McGinley as Professor, just because I think
that is actually awesome.
Yeah, I think like as Dr. Cox, he played that character very well, and it kind of has that kind of same kind of not really a professor type of role, but in the doctor type of sense. So I gotta go with him.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Ted McKinley would be good too.
Yeah, I can see that too.
All right, question number 2. I'll let you go first this time, TF. If the government approached you and gave you the ability to make one law to improve the country, what would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one because, I mean, there really is quite a bit that's not right in the country these days. I mean, you see how really these days it seems like everything that can go wrong does go wrong. But as far as one specific law, I can't really think of any specific like law per se, like say like don't jaywalk or something like that, because there are pretty much every law that you can put into place is already in place. But I think it's just a general sense of as like a kind of a general idea would just be that I guess to kind of make people be able to be more free, like maybe not discriminate against some certain groups of people or people just because maybe they don't believe in the same things that some other people might believe in. So it'd probably be something related to that, just something that kind of would make things more equal for people. I'm not going to really get into the politics of it all, but I would go with that probably, because there's a million and one things you could choose. But I think ultimately, like this country was founded on freedom, and in some ways, I mean, we've come a long way from the way we were maybe like 50 years ago, but we still have a long way to go, and it's still kind of shocking when you think about some of the things that are still in some ways that we're still not really as free as we should be.
But you, Joe?
It's kind of hard to put this in one law, just because, but in a sense we kind of talked about this. I think it was last week where we had that school issue where it was kind of it was kind of unfair to that girl who kind of suffered just because of the law. I would kind of try and pass a law that isn't so strict about truancy and stuff like that. Like maybe have a certain guideline to it in policy in terms of what counts as that. But it's just way too strict to me, and I would work hard in changing that, because there are a lot of laws that you can there's no way you're going to have everyone happy at just any law you pass. It's just not going to happen. There's going to be someone who disagrees, who thinks that for whatever their standpoint is. And to me, it's these are innocent people who are suffering, kids, teenagers still, and who aren't even adults yet suffering for this. So I got to go with that, just because it's kind of unfair to them in that sense. And other laws kind of they're very political and kind of debatable. So I would try to go with one that wouldn't cause a lot of controversy. Although I guess that would too.
I'm sure any kids listening love you right now for that.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't make it really relaxed, because in a sense I do think there should be discipline, but if there's someone who's doing well in school and they miss a day, and it really shouldn't be on them, especially in this situation. I think it'd be more situational in terms of how you handle that.
I get you. Yeah, I mean, if someone's feeling really overworked and they don't want to go to school, I think they should be able to stay home for a day or two.
Exactly. It's not like they're skipping because they don't care about school. Obviously, they do if they're an honor student. So.
All right, question number 3, and it's your turn to go first, Joe. After dying in a tragic accident on the way to your wedding with the girl of your dreams, you return to Earth 1 year later as a ghost and see that your then fiance is now dating me, as we bonded together over your death and became very close. How do you feel about this?
I think I would. In a sense, I'd be okay with it, just because, I'm dead, so obviously you wouldn't want the person to be stuck with that. But I think, the way you worded it, in a sense, kind of you bonded over my death, is kind of a little weird in a sense, just because it...
You didn't bond with joy over your death, I'll put it
No,
that way.
I don't mean that. I mean, if you two actually, really like each other for that, then that makes sense. But I mean, if you just bonded over my death and that kind of led to something, then I'd be a little skeptical, just because of, is there anything actually there? But I guess it kind of just depends on what the relationship was in that sense. I don't think I'd be overly angry at it, though.
The way I kind of meant it was you died and I was comforting her and we were spending a lot of time together and it just kind of happened. That's what I meant.
I really don't think I could be I have a right to be too mad at that, just because it's I'm dead. What can I do? I think in a sense it would be kind of weird though if I came back a year later and saw this, just because in a sense I would be kind of weirded out being back on the planet like Satan is. It would just be kind of strange to me in that sense of having to. I think it would be hard to actually be around that. I mean, just honestly, it would be because you would obviously still care about the person. You want to be happy, so you wouldn't be like angry, but at the same time or upset. You'd be kind of just like awkward in that sense of having to see it. I mean,
like that should have been me.
In a sense, yeah, and just kind of like I said, you still feel for that person. So in a sense, you're kind of like just there, like kind of like stuck there. I don't know if you're stuck there, but just kind of like there at that moment, seeing that. So it's kind of like mixed feelings, I guess you could say, in that general sense.
But UTF.
Well, it would be kind of hard to see that, knowing what could have been and all that. But ultimately, I guess in the end, if I wasn't there, I just would want her to be happy. So if it was with you, as hard as that would be to watch, I'd want her to be happy. And if it was with you, then so be it. And really, I'd want you to be happy too. And if I'm not there, I mean, well, I'm not there. I would, if we would have gotten married and I would have died young, like say maybe 20 years or 10 years in the future from this, I would still expect her to one day go looking out for love again or trying to find love again. And who's to say who that would be? So whether it's 20 years from now, 30 years from now, or the day of the day after when our wedding day was supposed to be, ultimately I think that her life shouldn't end just because mine did. And if that means if she's happy with you, then I guess I just have to accept that, as hard as it would be.
How would you feel in this situation? I want to hear your answer to this. It's actually a good question.
I would haunt the crap out of both of you and be like, "Stay away from my girl." No, I don't think I'd like it, just because I really would have those feelings, like that should have been me. But I mean, at the same time, I mean, I want her to be happy. I want you guys to be happy. It's not like I'd really hold a grudge, but it would be very hard to see.
Honestly, you'd probably be in a better place though, so I don't think it would really matter all that much.
That's true.
I will say the afterlife would be pretty interesting, because you all meet up again, and that would be kind of weird in the sense if you already knew all, I don't know. That's going crazy there.
You stole my girl.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be kind of like that. So I don't know if it'd be like that, but it'd be kind of like that same sentiment.
In the meantime, I can go up there, go on some dates with Marilyn Monroe. All right, question number 4, and it's your turn to go first, TF.
Okay.
One night when watching TV late at night, you discover a 50s sitcom you've never heard of called All About Andy, with a character named Andy that is pretty much exactly like you personality-wise.
All About Andy.
As the show goes on, you realize that some of the other characters are exactly like various people in your life. And as you watch more episodes, you realize that the situations in this show are eerily similar to situations you've experienced in your own life. After researching this show online, you uncover that it actually lasted 9 seasons, and the 7th season is very similar to where your life is right now. What is your reaction to this show, and do you watch the next 2 seasons using it as a guidebook of sorts for the future?
Wow, I mean, that would be kind of crazy to just see this show. I would kind of wonder how the heck something like this came to be. Maybe some people were spying on me or something. I don't know. But
well, it's a 50s show.
At the same time, you just feel like I was maybe in some kind of alternate universe or something. I'd never even heard of this show before, but it's somehow it exists all of a sudden. But I guess I would want to see the next 2 seasons, because it would be kind of I wouldn't know for sure if it was fully parallel to my life. So I'd be kind of I'm going to see what the next 2 seasons are like and see if maybe my life turns out like that. And maybe, who knows, maybe it would work out as a guideline, or maybe it would just be a weird coincidence, but I think it'd be tempting not to at least check it out.
What about you, Joe? I
think any show, you kind of have that, when you get it, if I was really sucked into this show, especially if you could relate to it, that's very important to me, I would, I would kind of even if it was really similar, it'd be well, this was made in the 50s, so I have no idea if it's talking to me or not, so I think I would see it just in that general sense, and, I guess in a sense, you might think maybe I would think oh wow, this could be my life, but maybe at the same time it's you never know, it could be, maybe it's just eerily similar, because I know I've watched other shows before that kind of felt similar in some senses to how life is, but it doesn't mean that they're exactly the same. So I think I would watch it. I wouldn't be too worried about that. In a sense, I would kind of feel this was brought, I found this for a reason, so maybe I'm meant to watch the whole show and see where it goes. Maybe it teaches me a lesson in the end of what I shouldn't do, and it kind of prevents maybe a tragic death that happens on the show or something.
All right,
definitely a good question, though. I like that one.
Yeah, I did too.
All about Andy. All right, question number 5, and it's your turn to go first again, Joe. If you had to spend an entire winter in an isolated cabin in the middle of Minnesota, and you could pick 4 people to be there with you, one food that you had an endless supply of to live off for the entire winter, and every episode of one TV show to watch, what would your selections be? Keep in mind that this is the only show you can watch and the only food that you can eat all winter.
Okay, let's go do this one by one. So first it was 4 people, right?
Yep, 4 people.
Okay, so well, you and TF are obvious choices. I think, in a sense, I would like feel bad if I didn't pick our friend Clark. So is that for a person including us too? So like me?
No. 4 people, okay, including yourself.
So you, TF, Clark, and I don't know, like.
That would be 4, wouldn't it?
No, it doesn't include me though. So it'd be you.
I thought you said. Yeah. I thought you said it did include you.
So I'm trying to like think of like a girl, but I think it would be pretty divided here if I picked like one certain girl, because it'd be like, oh well, this girl.
It'd be a disaster actually. Like all 4 of us like fighting over a girl.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of more like someone that would be kind of like a friend to us, like someone nice to have along. That'd be like a friend that we wouldn't like fight over, and that's kind of hard in the general sense. But I think. See, I can't like name a specific person, but I think I would pick someone that like none of us are attracted to, but is nice enough that we would probably like bond with them, so it wouldn't become a problem in that sense. I'm not really sure who that would be, because I really don't know like who we all match up to in that taste, but I think you get my idea there. It's like just someone fun to like give a female perspective on things.
Like a friend of ours, like Kelsey or someone.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Alright, those are good answers. And you also have to pick one food, and this is the only food we can eat all winter.
Well, I'm sorry, but I can only eat one food like regularly, and you might hate it, but I would pick pizza.
I could live with that.
I'll live with it. Yeah.
I could pick worse choices, I bet.
And one TV show. This is the only show we can watch all winter.
Now this is kind of a hard one. Like I'd want to pick a long-running one in a sense, just because it would have a lot of episodes. But at the same time, it's like we would all have to kind of enjoy it, or else, it'd be like isolating one person out of it. So, in terms of one TV show I'd pick, normally I'd probably pick like a wrestling show just because they've been on for so long, like Raw or something. But I know TF would probably go nuts at just being able to watch that show.
Probably.
So I cannot go with that. Maybe I'd go with something like, I don't really like. See again, like if I pick like a Supernatural or Smallville, we're kind of isolating those other people that might not like it. So, like maybe something like maybe The Simpsons, in the sense that it's been around for so long, we would have like an endless supply of episodes, and we all pretty much kind of liked it at one time or another. So
yeah, that's a good choice.
So I think I would go with that just for like because I would hate like seeing the same episode over and over after a while. At least with that, we'd have like a ton of episodes to choose from.
That's very true. They have like 20 seasons, so you wouldn't run out very easily.
Were there anything else, or was that?
That's all. Those are good choices. What about you, TF? 4 people.
Well, if one girl would cause a lot of problems, I'm just going to go with 4 girls here. I mean, screw you guys. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
I'd have to have you guys and Clark as well. I mean, honestly, although I do have to say, inviting Clark along probably would bring some problems along with him too, considering we'd be stuck in a cabin with him all winter. And
that is true.
I could see that going.
All I can say is I would not include Clark in our selections. I'm sorry. He is one of my best friends, but I cannot imagine me and him in like a cabin all winter.
Well, I kind of had to go with him by default though, because I honestly can't think of any more people to bring in there too. I mean, obviously I'd want to bring a girl along for me, but
Lucy Hale, so you guys can go to war.
Lucy Hale. Yeah, I don't think I think we ended up killing ourselves before the winter was over, but
probably like take wood out of the fireplace and like go after each other with it.
Maybe I'd bring along like I don't know. This is like really like this to me. This is really like picking out of a hat, because I mean, when I think about like us like going somewhere on some crazy trip, I think about you guys being there, but I don't really know about like this 4th person other than me. I guess if I had to choose, it would probably just be someone random and hilarious, like I don't know, like Joe mentioned, like in that Gilligan's Island, like John Goodman. I mean, I
knew you were gonna say John Goodman.
I'm just saying, I know that sounds like a generic answer because I said John Goodman for a lot of different things before on this podcast, but
I'm not
Like-
saying it's bad. I mean, it'd be funny to
No.
be stuck in a cabin for the winter with John Goodman.
Like, I'm picturing like growing his big beard and like wearing these lumberjack clothes and
Him like
going
telling
out.
us stories by the fireplace.
Yeah, like him every night he goes out and like chops up this firewood or something. What was the next
no.
one?
Food.
This is gonna sound kind of selfish, but I'd have to go with tacos just because that's probably the only thing I legitimately could eat every day over the winter. So I'd go with that one. I'd go with tacos.
I'd probably get sick of them after a while, but I'd get sick of pizza too.
I think we get sick of anything if we ate it for like 4
Yeah.
months or something.
And TV show.
This is hard because it's like some of the shows you and Joe like I don't really like, and some of the shows that me and you like Joe doesn't really like. But honestly, I think I'd go with Chuck just because like every episode of that show is like really great to me, and I know you feel the same way, Chad.
I definitely
I think that would be a great show to just like if we had to just sit and watch it all the time. That would be one show because there's a lot of episodes and they are each an hour long. It isn't like a sitcom or something like that, so that would kind of kill us some more time. And like I don't think Joe ever really watched it, so I mean this could be our chance to. Well, I think it would be kind of like our chance to like really get him into the show.
Well, he's really only seen like the first season, I think.
Yeah, I have the DVD of the first season. So I'd like
exactly.
to I remember you guys were like reviewing it on the podcast and like all these like crazy situations. I'm like, wow, I like it went by so fast. I missed a ton of it because it was all so different.
It did go by very, very fast. It's an awesome show.
It really did.
I know, like the EFD. I don't think he really watches it. I don't know how like John Goodman feels about it, but I know the rest of them.
John Goodman.
All right, I gotta actually pick this for fun too. I would pick you guys. I would not pick our friend Clark just because, like I said, me and him would kill each other. This is where it gets hard because I want to pick two girls, but that kind of leaves like an odd man out. I'm tempted to pick like Lucy, but then I know like TF, like me and him would fight over her, so I'm gonna leave Lucy out of it.
I mean, 4 months in there, like all like with just us.
Yeah. So
I think we'd all be. I think even Joe, if he was along there, would be like wanting to get with her at that point.
I'm gonna pick this girl that I like. I won't name her here on the show, but I think you guys probably both know who I'm talking about. And then I'm going to pick Taylor Swift, and I'm going to let you two just like duke it out and like compete over her for those next few months.
Well, that really wouldn't be much of a contest. I'd probably like say, "No, Joe, she's mine." He'd be like, "Okay."
More than likely.
Well, sorry, Joe, but you have a lot of free time up in the mountains. You can go solo.
I would go out there and grab an axe and like you would see me outside the window at night chopping something, and you would think it's TF, but it's really just firewood.
What the heck? Okay.
Ideally, I think it would actually be awesome if like all of us were like spending a cabin for like the winter with like 3 girls, but
yeah,
you're kind of the odd man out, Joe. I'm sorry.
I'll go in the hot tub in the cabin and just stay there myself and lock the door.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, I should pick food too. I gotta go with cheeseburgers, man. Like pizza and tacos are good, but I could actually eat cheeseburgers every day, so I'd go with that. Probably wouldn't be the best for our health, to be honest, but
you would want to be careful too, because like if you have a girl who really hates that, they would kill you. So I'm not sure. That's true. Like I picture like Taylor Swift being angry, you pick like cheeseburgers and going after you like angrily about this.
Taylor Swift. Write a song about it.
Actually, the great thing about cheeseburgers is like if they're vegetarians, they could just eat like the lettuce or the bread. There's other stuff on there.
That's not really
sound very appealing to me.
I was gonna say that's not really like a filling meal for them though. That's like
that's true.
They're neglectful of like their needs of like.
Hey, if they're vegetarians, like they eat that crap all the time anyway.
Yeah, but like I would picture just like a little bit of lettuce. Like I don't picture like a ton of it. So like a salad.
Well, we have an endless supply of it, so
that's true.
Eat and for a show, I'm going to go with a show that is absolutely universally loved. I've noticed Boy Meets World. There's only like 7 seasons, so it would go by pretty fast. But I could actually, that's like one show I don't think I could ever get sick of. So I think I would go with that.
I'd love watching that. I mean, I think that'd actually kind of fun because it lasted for so long to just watch all the episodes.
Yeah. But yeah, that was 5 random questions. I thought tonight was a really fun show, guys.
Great questions too. So I definitely thought it was a fun show tonight.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to very soon top the craziness level of the show just because of some of the ridiculous stuff we had on here. But it was a good show, and I thought it was fun. Definitely brightened my day up a little bit. And thankfully, I didn't have any angry outbursts with you guys, unlike that lady at the counter at that store. So all is well.
It would have made for entertaining podcast if you had.
I'll save it for another time.
I think this show will always go down as the show of the cat copter.
Pretty much.
Right,
I mean, really, how can you? I don't even know what to say here. Show of the cat copter. We'll leave it at that.
All right, I want to thank everybody for listening. I thought tonight was a great show, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you'll tune in next week as well. Take care and have a good one.
Till next week, everyone. Don't you dare miss it.